going to find out that jumping on is a lot easier than jumping off. Wow!
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know. The air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get
Hey guys,
mad.
what's happening? Thanks again. Tuning in for another ThinkStopper. If I'm not mistaken, this is episode 24. I don't really know, but we're back at it again, doing it all the way live. Well, in the in the studio recording, but here we are. We got the old. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got the old podcast fired up, but glad to have you back here, Mikey.
Oh man, I've been gone. I've been like just fucking.
Yeah, and
crazy
also,
busy.
as I say, also that you you had to cut out on I think it was the last one. You had a problem with this old sciatic nerve.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous, dude. Back though, I'm full, in full motion, full range,
You're
full
back
abilities.
Yeah, you're at your fighting weight.
I am.
Yeah, I think so. From what I heard recently, you're back at your old fighting weight.
It was a small altercation this morning, but it all worked out.
You care to indulge on that one, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can here. Hold on, let me get a drink here.
I was gonna say, is it something that we need the statute of limitations to?
Well, here's what happened. It was
This is ridiculous. Like,
it's a crazy story.
This is one of the most ridiculous things as I've heard recently.
So I'll keep the the minor details out, but I'll throw the I'll keep it vague, but you'll be able to follow along. So a buddy of mine has an Instagram page like we all do, and he's posting like a video of his friend fighting someone on his page. And I just make a comment like the dude hits the guy and drops him, but it's a horrible punch. The punch
I saw
it was like
it's
a
ridiculous.
door hinge punch where his elbow was like stuck to his ribs, and he swung up and he hit the dude on the side of the head, and the dude buckled. And so I just commented, "What a horrible punch!"
It's a very unathletic punch. It's very awkward, and it's a terrible punch.
It was
terrible.
horrible, like it just
in a real fight, it's countered, and the guy's like jaw is in the next yard over.
Yeah,
like seriously,
it's the worst punch you've ever seen. And so I just comment like, "What a horrible punch!" And so the guy that threw the punch, I don't know him. I've never met him. He starts commenting back to me like, "Oh, you looks like you want to be next."
Oh.
And then I'm like, "Easy, pussycat."
wow.
I was like, "Take it easy, pussycat." Like,
Slow down, killer.
Just chill out, bro. Like everybody's cool here,
I'm gonna instruct you how to punch.
And then we like get this back and forth, and then my buddy who posted the video, he like starts egging it on. He throws like, "I got money on the bigger dude." The guy's pretty big. I didn't realize how big he was until I saw him this morning. But
that doesn't matter.
So this was like 3 weeks ago, and so I didn't go. And then like last week, I get another like they post like something like I bitched out and I didn't come down to fight this dude. And I'm like, dude, we're like I'm pushing 40. I'm a couple seasons out. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going out of my way to fight this fucking dude. Like you guys are ridiculous. So then this morning, they post another video, and they tag me in it, so it starts showing up. And they tag, like, my Facebook. They tag, like, my Instagram.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like,
yeah,
fucking, the dude's, like, eating a bag of chips. He's like, "Oh, just carb loading before I go beat up Mikey Slyman." You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on a minute, dude. Like, this is bullshit. I'm going to go over there and fucking talk to this dude.
You can't put that shit on social media, dude. Like,
well, here's the thing. Be who you are.
That's what social media is about.
In real life, who you are on social media. Like, if you want to start pretending to be someone else, you're not in that alternate, dimension, reality for forever. Right. And not only that, but like, this isn't like some like video on like one of these like Barstool Sports or like World Star where you're never gonna meet the person.
It wasn't like a WWE fight promo.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, you work for my friend.
It's like we're like in the damn near same circles in this.
Like, I'm gonna see you. So that was what I commented to him. When that was the last comment I said to him. Was like, "All right, bro, keep that energy when I see you."
When I see you.
Yeah.
exclamation point
Yeah.
or all caps.
Like when I see you, like I'm gonna see you, and then he comments back,
partner.
I got plenty to go around, so we good. So I'm like, all right. And that was
Yeah,
3 weeks ago.
dude.
So then today they post this weird video, like whatever.
Was that the carb loading
It was
video?
like the carb loading video, and he's like, and he calls me out by my name. Like he's like, got my like, easy bail bonds tagged, and then he says my first and last name. He's like, going to beat up Mikey. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go. Like, I just got to go deal with this because like,
Jesus.
I just got to go talk to this fucking dude.
We're grown men here.
And so I go to talk to him, and he first of all he tries to like deny that he was talking shit online. Like, well, I know it's you.
Now you confront
Right.
him.
You know what I mean? And then he fucking
It's a
like.
public record.
He like, I don't know what it was, dude. He kind of like condescended me, like he like fucking gave me like a whatever, and he like eye rolled me, and then like went to take a drink of his water, and I kind of slapped the water out of his hand.
Really?
Yeah,
while it was at his mouth.
while it was in his mouth.
Oh, man,
While
you
he was
took
swallowing
Biggie
in his
Huey's
throat.
bottle?
So it was an interesting morning, but like the bottom line is like, bro, you can't threaten people online. You know what I mean? And then
Anywhere.
like, like basically like, and mind you, like you saw the video, the dude's fucking huge.
The guy's like what, like 6'7", 6'8",
Yeah, he
or
makes
something?
me look
Like
small. Like when I walk in, like he meets me at the doorway, and he's like taking up the whole fucking doorway.
no, he's a big guy.
It looked like a fifth grader like talking to the teacher.
Yeah, like fucking, so
seriously.
I'm like dwarfed in this video, but it
there?
like
Yeah,
comes
I
down to
seen
like,
it.
bro, you got to be the same person. Like don't.
It's like Floyd Mayweather in The Big Show.
Yeah, like
It's like that big.
It's like, bro, like, and then I was like, damn it, dude, I gotta call this dude out. Like, fuck it, man. Like, let's just fucking whatever. And then, like he just got really nice. He's like trying to shake my hand. I'm like, bro, fuck you.
Smack his hand.
It wasn't really nice. Like I seen, it was like bitch. Like he bitched up real quick.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it was an interesting morning. You know what I mean?
Oh
One
yeah,
of
you
those
get the
situations.
energy changed.
Yeah, and it
180
just was like,
changed.
but the thing with it is like, I don't like being that guy. I don't
Right.
want to go through with
Right.
this. I don't want to do this shit. But like, you're threatening me
Right,
online.
right.
Like,
Now
it's a
you're-
stupid
yeah,
situation to be in. And I go there and I hang out. So like, I don't want to know. Like, I want to know how serious this dude is because I don't want to like go to visit my friend.
Right.
You know
And
what
have
I mean?
him jump out of a closet.
And then have this dude like, pop up out of no. I just want to
Right.
like listen. But now he might. He might.
Right.
Now he might. He's probably
Remember
shopping for a
me,
pistol.
partner?
Yo, Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Exactly.
Carlito, gonna hit me with the grease gun in the subway now.
He's gonna be like, yo, what this gotta do for me? You know what? Damn, to get popped on that shit.
You know what's up, partner?
For real.
It was, I don't know. It just was like I said. I'm not that guy, man. Like I really like maybe 15 years ago.
You were that guy.
but I'm not like trying to be. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, but you still got those hands like that guy, because that was a
Yeah.
quick from the hip.
yeah, like don't roll your eyes at me, bro. Like first of all, it was already bad enough he turned his back on me when I'm trying to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like
Well, that's just a rookie maneuver, because if someone's mad at you, dude,
Oh.
this gives them a chance to jump on your back and then choke you
choke
out.
him out for
Do
sure.
not roll your eyes at me like some 16-year-old black girl.
Yeah.
That's just like that's not gonna work.
Well, actually, they
ever.
could get
Exactly.
away
That's
with that because they
sassy
probably
shit.
whooped my ass. So.
Yeah. Did you ever see
Still.
the video? Speaking of 16-year-old black girls, of the 16-year-old black girl that rolled her eyes at that grown man? Did you ever outside the movie theater?
And he whooped her ass.
Dude, he punched through.
Exactly. I seen that.
Like, bro.
Was that the big white dude that hit her? I
Yeah,
think so.
oh,
Yeah,
bro,
she was like a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Taught her a
dude,
lesson. Taught her a
dude.
lesson.
It was like one of the hardest overhand rights I ever saw, and it went like 3 feet past her.
I just posted a video of a guy that got blasted in by a straight left hand in the UK, and it was the little dude who was barking and hoping people would hold him back.
Oh, I
and
saw that.
kind of and they were like, let him go, and dude just clack. It looked like he got shot in the head, dude.
Yeah, like he pushed his way through like 6 people.
Yeah, dude.
He pushed his way through like 6 people. It's always those guys. It's always like, when you're out and you see the guy who's like his girlfriend's holding him back. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're lucky if she's holding you back,
You know what that
you don't want it with me.
That's a
Like,
perfect,
sure. If she's got
perfect
enough strength to hold you
example
back.
of social Darwinism right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Let the idiots.
Just be
feather
that. Just
themselves
be
out.
who you are. You know what I mean? Like I talk a lot of shit online, but it's like in all reality, like I'm prepared to like have to deal with that in the real world.
Well, you know what's funny is I had a guy. I'm on a bunch of boxing sites or groups and stuff like that, And I have this thing that it bothers me to no end because these are like supposed to be like, you know, boxing discussions, and you have these guys, they'll just make this post like Floyd Mayweather's 50-0, deal with it. And I'm like, oh God, here's a casual, here's a casual fan, you know, here's a Flomo or
we are dealing with it, I guess.
you know, yeah, you know. And so
We're not protesting it. But.
this guy jumps on me, and so I immediately just start picking him apart, you know. And I don't go on the profile. I don't look at people. I don't like go and dig and stuff like that. But I see his profile, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's fair game, you know, like whatever. He's dropping N-bombs on me and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, here we go. You know, I'm just firing back. And then the whole time he keeps calling me this internet tough guy because I'm like just clowning him. And he goes, you would never talk this way to me in my face. I go, yeah, I would. Yeah. I'll make a video of it right now. We could, you know what I mean? I'll put it on YouTube. Yeah. I go, I do this for a living. I'm a stand-up comedian. Yeah. Like, this is what I do. I go, you really don't want any of this because by the time you want to get physical, you already lost. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You've already fucking lost. So just give it up, dude. You know. And then, it tried to get me banned on the thing. One of those guys calling it.
Bully and then run to the police or to the admin or some shit. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I get a message from the dude. And he's like, hey man, he's like, just don't engage these guys or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna let your comments go through, but he flagged my comments. I'm like, what a bitch, dude. But you know. But yeah, apparently he's not the guy that would do, you know,
for sure. Do that he's looking for the first authority.
Well, you have to realize that these 6th graders that's on Call of Duty, they also have like Facebook accounts and IG accounts. You know what I mean? It's the same group of dum-dums.
No, totally.
It's just always going at it.
That was I remember when I used to play like online video games. It was like, bro, like, didn't you realize you're arguing with a 12-year-old?
Yeah. Bro, I'm glad I never got into that. I never got into that kind of gaming.
Because I would be at my old office because I used to have the.
I never gamed like
that.
And
that's why I don't have a TV in here, is because I used to fucking play Call of Duty for like 8 hours all day at work. And I just would make like.
You'd be a Twitch star, dude.
Yeah, and I would just be in there yelling and shit. People would come in and be like, "Are you all right, bro?" And I'd be like, "Fuck this kid."
Yeah.
Kid, he's like 9 years old. He lives in Milwaukee. He's talking shit.
I was going to say, that's my son on Fortnite. Fuck that guy right there. I'm like, yo, dog, you're
going in with like Mike Tyson shit.
I'll fucking eat your children. No, they have like the 9-year-old comments. I fucked your wife. You know, like they all fucked your wife. And it's like, bro, I know you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that comment is
bro, you irrelevant. Can't even come yet. It just tingles. It just tingles.
Yeah. You know, it's like hilarious.
Like you could actually piss with a boner, you little fag.
Exactly.
Like internet. Fuck, dude. It's just.
Hey, I love the internet, though.
Hey, so real quick, before we get into our love of the internet, dude, I should introduce our guests. We're already, like, well into it. People are like, who the fuck is talking over here? Guys, so this is I'm gonna start with John over here. It's been a while. We've been actually trying to get you on for a good stretch over here, just the way things have been working out and all that good stuff. But John Oscar Hein, I have your business card here. I love this, comic accountant.
I majored in fuzzy math. Other kids took creative writing. I took creative bookkeeping and moved to Vegas.
That was a good move. But I just like comic accountant, like they're gonna laugh at the tax returns or some shit.
Yeah, really.
Faces in the zeros.
It's intimidating at the IRS when they see they got to deal with a guy with a puppet.
Comic accountant.
Yeah, so we have John Oscar Hein, and he's got the Oscar and Bernie YouTube channel. You are the anti-ventriloquist.
Yeah, we've been known. We were the most gang-gonged act from the Gong Show. Salt and Pepper ganged us up on us and gonged us at once. And Argus Hamilton and the kid from the Gary Shandling show that Mike Nemes or whatever his name was.
No one remembers.
Where's he today?
Exactly.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He's probably a rabbi somewhere.
So, John, you know, I've met you here in the comedy scene, and you know, in and out some shows. I think the first show where I met you, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was at Sapphires. You were there.
Oh wow, yeah, I had a 2-year run over there. That
giving
was
lap dances.
Yeah, the strip club, giving the old in the senior section.
Yeah, it was fun because I got paid to look at all those young girls. It was pretty nice.
I thought you were dancing, bro.
I wasn't in the chip in jail, so that was.
I could still hear that diaper unlatching.
Want some candy, little girl? Come over here, see the puppet.
I'm just thinking of all the polydent down there around this, around the junk. Like it smells like bubble gum. No,
Yeah,
but
that was a fun gig.
no, but one of the things is that when me and Mikey were talking, it's actually funny that I didn't even know. I had no idea that you guys had any prior history or anything.
Right,
But
yeah.
we were talking, and he's like, you were talking about people having guests, and I was like, you know who I want to have on? I want to have John Oscar on. I want to.
Oh, shit.
It's like. And he goes, really? And he goes, I know him.
And
I
he
was
worked
like,
for me. I don't want to ever see him again.
yeah, he's like, I know him. And I was like, what? And so, but he was like, why? And one of the things is, I mean, obviously you're somebody who marches to the beat of his own drum. You do your own thing. You've been doing your own thing. And one of the things was everybody before I met you, everybody be like, oh, dude, he's weird, and he's out there. He's a real kooky dude and all stuff like that, right? And I'd be like, oh, okay, And what I noticed, is you speak your slang. You have your own vocab and what you talk about and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like some of it, it's like, hey, hey.
The wife says I talk dyslexically.
You got like, I don't know. It's like you got this beatnik, like you dig. I don't know, like you have
Shaggy.
yeah, like he's got like this, and so. One of these days, one of the times we're out and we're smoking stuff like that, and I'm listening to you talk, and I was like, oh, you guys just don't know what he's saying. That's why you're just turned off on whatever you're saying, because I know, I'm a conspiracy guy, but I know a lot of the stuff you're talking about. You know what I mean? I know a lot of the like what's going on. So I'm like, they just don't know. So the next thing you know,
they attack you. They attack you. They belittle you because they can't handle what you're saying because it's so outrageous.
100%.
To think that Obama pushed Comey out there to stop Hillary so Michelle can run for office, that's an outrageous statement. But since November of 2016, that's what I've been posting because a friend of mine, he worked in the government, and that's what he told me. And he called the election in October, the week before the election, that Trump was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the Secret Service is the fly on the wall, but just they might be.
Well, see, and that's the thing is like you would be talking, I'm like, dude, he's spitting truth over here. He's talking real stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I became, like buddies and stuff like that. But then I became like a defender. And stuff like
Defender the bird.
Yeah, no, just definitely defend the bird,
God love
Mikey.
you,
That's
brother.
the job. You got to defend the bird. Don't you got a roast coming up? Yeah,
I
you
do.
got to defend the bird.
Well,
But no, but this is the thing is like no one really took issue with it. They just be like, oh yeah, he's into conspiracy until Trump won. That's where everything kind of unravels here in Vegas. It gets a little weird here. But it's like after that, all of a sudden, there's people that be like, oh, he's racist. And even like, Louis Bruce and all these other black comedians are like, he is not racist.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he
God
is
love
because
the
he
guys that really know me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
that's
it's
the
obvious.
go-to with the younger crowd. He's racist. He's
Sexist. He's homophobic.
He's
Transphobic
fucking
now,
transphobic. He's xenophobic. You know what I mean? Everything. You're.
I'm arachnophobic.
Well, people don't know he identifies as a black woman, lesbian.
sure.
So
Yeah,
how
that's
could he
the
be any of
shit.
those
That would
things?
make me do it.
Exactly.
Kid, I'm going to get you.
That's the John I know right there. And for the record, I did want to have the bird on first, but Tress said we should have.
Yeah. A little birdie told me.
Yeah.
No, but this is one of the things. This is one of the things because I didn't know at the time. Is when I found out how long you've been doing taxes in Vegas, and I was like, oh well, fuck, dude knows a lot.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing
you
of it
kinda
is,
get a
in my
look into
line of
things.
work, I try to develop rapport from the comic angle. I always want to know everybody's story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was working for Mikey's uncle down on the Boulder Highway in the Lucky John Saloon in the late 80s, we had all Vietnam vets and guys that came in there. And the stories that they would tell me. And one guy tells me that JFK got whacked by LBJ because they were all upset with Kennedy willing to start World War III over the October missile crisis. And then I'm thinking, this guy's full of shit. But then I do his taxes and I see he's retired out of the government. You know what I mean? And it's like, holy moly. And then he tells me he's seen UFOs, and he shot a bullet off a UFO. Now, this was in 88, 89. And then I see Independence Day, and what's Will Smith doing? He's shooting a bullet off the side of a UFO. You know what I mean? And the guy tells me they got high-powered batteries. They like us because we're able to navigate well. And then when the door closes up, you don't even see a seam. And when they jump on solar waves in space, that's how they travel. So, I mean, that sounds ridiculously crazy to the average Joe. But when you're sitting in a bar and you're meeting these people, and nobody would ever say, "Oh, I got a Medal of Honor," but somebody else would tell me I had a Medal of Honor.
See, what's funny is these people that will say, "Oh, that's bullshit" and all this stuff, but like, fucking Thanos. In the Infinity Stones, they're all about that shit. Like that's fucking like real deal gospel and all stuff like that. But
Or they just start like quoting like CNN shit. You're like, what the fuck are you?
oh
talking
yeah,
about?
dude. The
yeah.
repeaters
It's
repeating the
unbelievable.
repeaters.
No, it's unbelievable.
But so that's one of the things I wanted to get into in stuff like that
Thanks,
here in Vegas. Further in on this, and then our other guest is my first time meeting him, and this is all ties into the old crew with you guys.
Yeah.
We have Dregs, or AKA Duce,
There you go.
Yeah,
here with
baby.
us.
Hello, everybody.
How long you been in Vegas?
Since '94,
Since '94? All right.
February '94. Yeah.
I showed up in '93, right at the end of there. So
Wow.
we've
Yeah.
been in town the same time. Mikey, you've been here your whole life,
Born
right?
and raised,
I
yeah.
remember him as a kid,
81.
running around the house.
Yeah.
Saggy
Where
diaper.
are those
He was
same
full of
diapers
energy
you got
then.
on now?
Chasing
Saggy
the other
diaper.
kids.
Can't say shit.
He's like, yeah,
He's
but
a
now
ringleader.
look at him. He's smacking people.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
Slap the water out of people's face.
Some things never change.
he's like Capone, you
He's
know.
a
He's like-
protector.
Fuck, dude. It's like I don't want to do that shit. Like, why do you push me to this? Fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Every time I get out, they pull me right back
Seriously.
They all want to dance. They all want to dance.
Fuck, man. I just want to go home and take the kids to
That's
school,
right.
play with my poodles.
Yeah.
You know, like
Go
do
to Dairy
Suburban
Queen.
shit,
For
coach
real.
Little League.
Right?
You know what I mean? Take the kids for pizza and ice cream. That's all I'm trying to do, bro. Like,
Fucking my blue heaven.
yeah, fucking
Just be
A, bro.
regular, man.
In case I want to read it more than once.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that movie. That movie's the best. But yeah, well, you're from Long Beach. He's from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
So we got an East Coaster,
BK.
and then John's from the Midwest.
Yeah,
Dead
Cleveland.
ass, son.
You know.
Right
Graduated
on.
from the same school as your dad.
Yep.
Of Hard
Let's go
Knocks?
G's.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, the CEO of FedEx just retired. He was in my class.
nice.
Since
So,
kindergarten,
how'd you
yeah.
guys take both so separate paths? Like, what happened there? Like, don't tell people that, bro.
Well, we had a lot of powerful people came out of
Nepotism,
Brecksville,
bro.
Yeah,
Ohio.
bro.
you
It's
know?
always,
I mean,
it's always funny with black people. Like, we came from Kings and Queens. I'm like, stop.
no, Brooklyn.
That's
that-
embarrassing.
that's
How you get to
Gambino's.
this point? Stop. That's not.
Don't say
It's not
too
a
much.
badge of honor.
Yeah.
I used to. No, stop.
For the record, Dregs is black.
Yeah, for the
What?
for the record.
Oh shit! I just noticed.
It's an audio only, so I better just clarify that.
Is this a Clayton Bigsby moment where
It is.
he just gained sight all of a sudden?
I grew up in
Turn down
Honkyville.
that music, you damn jungle buddies.
Boogie woogie.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Duce, living in Vegas, you grew up. You know Mike. You've known Mikey for what?
20 plus years, yeah.
20
somewhere
plus
in there,
years.
yeah.
He was at the Pizza Shop in 04, 05.
Yeah.
I was
Crazy.
there.
And so the tie-in ultimately was your guys' your pizza parlor, right? Or was that the
Yeah, I had a pizza shop, and John worked there, and then Dregs over here worked there too. So when John was coming in, I was like, I was talking to him on the phone. I was like, hey, just pop in, bro, come hang out. Like, we'll talk to John, we'll talk to you, we'll fucking mix up some old pizza stories because there's some funny days in there.
I was
man.
kind of hoping you'd
I
say
was
we'd
the
mix up some old
goologist.
pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish, bro.
Where's
wish.
the oven?
I got the caramel though. We brought the
Yeah,
caramel.
yeah, there you go.
And a lot of people don't know, but me and Mike, we actually related. 3% goes back.
Yeah.
But
When I did my
Native
ancestry, I
American.
found out I was
Roots.
3% black.
Native American.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
Roots go deep.
Kind of come from Kings and Queens.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Kinda.
Queens, New York,
Yeah,
over here.
Queens, New York,
Kings
Kings
County. I was in
Boulevard.
Kings County. in Brooklyn, so
Court.
there you go.
So yeah, it was we all worked together in the pizza shop, and those were wild.
Oh, man.
Those were fun
Wild
times.
days, bro.
Fun
We had some
time.
crazy characters that worked with us.
Man.
Oh my goodness! I mean, you literally we're gonna sit down one day and document.
It was a documentary. Gino had been a mercenary in the Balkans, hired by the Catholic Church to protect Muslim families.
Yeah, it was one of my.
Now, who the hell
managers.
knows that? And they
What?
talk about conspiracy theory. And
Whoa.
guys,
What
gotta
the
be a
fuck is
conspiracy
this? This
theory.
sounds like
So
some
No,
massage.
dude, he had pictures.
Gino himself
He had
was a
pictures.
conspiracy.
So let me, I'll open
No,
up.
the
I'll
pictures
open
to
up
back
Gino,
up
then
the
I'll let
story.
John talk about what he did because John has a better memory with the mercenary part. So I hired this guy named Gino, right? and he's
How old?
he's a Ren Fair guy. Like he's a
Renaissance
diehard Renaissance fair
Festival.
Oh, okay.
guy.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he kind of has
Fetch
this.
me a frothy ale.
Yeah, he
Okay.
looks fucking weird. All right,
Hold
I'll
up.
just fucking
He looks
say it like
just
pirate.
like Shmi
yes,
from Peter Pan.
yes, he looks like Shmi. You
Uh,
know,
You remember Hook's number one dude, the first mate,
he's got a pirate look.
I'd have
Right.
to see
And I
it. but
know-
and mixed with Quanto
Yes. From Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Out of the belly.
So that's what we're
Yes,
getting at.
Quaid.
Speaking about
So-
the
yeah,
belly,
so that's what I'm-
belly, yeah, that poor guy had a
Start the
hernia.
reactor.
So I hired this guy Gino, and he looks like a pirate, but he has this Ren Fair vibe. And I know that Ren Fair and pirates aren't the same, but he's a fucking pirate. and
It's an
he-
epic clash when they're at the same when they're at the same fairgrounds. It's an
like,
epic
it's
clash.
just terrible.
And
And,
a glass of ale.
and so he's there, and he works for a couple shifts.
The
And
red.
like the third shift he's working, he's like, all right, boss, I'm going to clean up and I'm going to take off because I was breaking him in on like 4-hour shifts, you know, like just to get to know him and train him up and everything like that. And then I notice he's got this huge fucking bulge sticking out of the side of his belly. Like huge, like almost like he stuck a pillow under his shirt, like
He was
3/4
stealing
to
pizza
the right.
dough.
You know, and I
Yeah,
thought
but
like,
he's
oh,
stealing.
this dude's fucking stealing. You know what I mean? Like I just fucking see this. I never
Yeah, right.
noticed this bulge before.
You seen the movie where he stabs old dude in the leg?
Yeah,
It was the
yeah,
steak,
that
but
happened.
it,
Slum in Beverly Hills Slums or whatever it's called. So that's what I'm thinking, right? So I, with the similar vibe, I'm like, all right, man, have a good day, man. And I throw him like this right underhook gut punch, like whack. You know, and I was like, boom, like, yeah, what's going on there? And he fucking drops him to the floor and he starts screaming in agony pain.
almost ruptured.
And he
Quanto.
lifts his shirt up. He's got this huge fucking hernia. He's like kicking his legs. He's screaming so hard. And I'm like, oh, I fucking killed him.
That's a loss.
dude, a hernia. What?
Bro, it was the size of what? Like honestly,
Oh
like
my
like the
God.
little, like the young youth size basketball.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
fucking
Oh,
elite,
dodgeball.
bro.
Like a soccer
like
ball.
a melon.
Fucking poor guy, dude.
And I gut,
Yeah.
like hit him with a hard like gut punch. You're like, "Wah!"
You gotta remember, Mikey was only 19, 20 years old at
Yeah,
this
I'm
point.
young. You know what I mean? Like fucking
Young
and-
vibrant.
It was a hip hop
Full
pizza
head of
shop.
hair. I was on
Yes,
it.
hair and shit.
He's like it was a good snapping left hook to the liver, you know, like
You know, and I turned into it just right, and I'm
step
like,
to the side and just
yeah, because I thought he was stealing like a fucking bag of chicken wings or ribs or something. You know what I mean? And he's just on the floor, and it's just me, him, and this girl, Brittany. And she's like, damn, boss, what'd you do? You fucked him up. And I'm like, get some ice or something. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is that? He's like, it's a hernia. He's like, I'm fucking dying. He's like, call 911. And I'm like, no.
Alien.
He punched his
I'm like, you're
malignant twin in the
fine.
face.
Like, you know when you're like,
punch Quado, dude.
you know, so like, you know when you have like your sibling or whatever, and you're like, you're fine. Like, don't call mom. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so-
yeah.
In my place, like, should I call 911? I'm like, don't fucking call anybody. We're gonna figure this out.
We're gonna bury the body.
And so we like sit him up
him
and
in
I
a
call him
cooler.
down. And so I had to make him full time at that point because I was afraid.
You were like, here's $40. Hand him
yeah,
the money.
you only
Gave
gotta
him a-
be
gave
tips
him a
from the
ride
boss.
home because he was on the bus and
Here's a
shit.
bonus.
But here's an advance, yeah,
You
right.
need a
You know,
ride
so
home today?
now this dude's part of the crew, right? Like Gino, and then you know he's
Did he ever get it fixed?
no.
He
You
took
know,
that.
he was actually a fucking.
He died?
No, last
no,
time I
he's
saw
alive.
him, he was
Someone saw
homeless
him.
over on Jones and Trop.
Yeah.
He's
so-
still
A
alive?
few years ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
It
was
wasn't
a
that
couple
long
years
ago,
ago.
maybe 4 or 5 years
What?
ago. I was buying gas, and there he was. He's panhandling. As I
See,
see,
That's how you have to believe in miracles.
And so now, John,
That's how you know.
and then so John, pick it up from there. What was Gino before we met him?
Well, he showed us pictures. He was a mercenary, like I say, hired by the Catholic Church to go defend Muslim families in the Balkans. And the pictures he had was
He was a
unbelievable.
crusader,
Burn a house
literally.
with dead bodies. There.
He had,
It
he
was
had a photo
crazy
album he
stuff.
brought like into
Yeah,
work
yeah.
one day.
Of
He
his
was
work,
showing us.
you know. Mercenaries
his
got to
days
keep,
in the
you know,
merc- and you
pictures
have
of
this
their work.
like
Hold on.
you have this like middle-aged man, you know what I mean? But he's showing us pictures now from when he was like 20. You know what I mean? He's in really good shape. He's like
Bandana
a handsome dude.
on.
You know, he's like fucking with his like mercenary fucking detail. Like
Before his heart got broken by
Yeah.
a little girl in Thailand or some shit like
Exactly.
that.
But you have, and now like he's
Saw
like,
the dick and
by
just was like,
Ling Ling.
I'm not all man
so
no
he brings
more.
in this like soldier, like, you know, he's a soldier here, you know, and he's like, these dudes are like outfitted, like there's a machine gunner, they got like grenades hooked to their shirts and like fucking
Knife in between the
there's like
teeth.
Yeah, that's
armored
crazy
cars,
shit.
and these dudes like look like the real deal, and I'm like, oh shit, that's you when you were young. And then I flip through and I see another picture of like him prone down on the ground, like shooting something with the muzzle flash coming out of the rifle. And then I flip the next picture and there's a pile of bodies decaying.
And that's what the collection plate goes to.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, bro.
And there's a pile of dead bodies, and I'm like,
Sending people to heaven.
This was 2000.
Exactly, dude.
This was 2004. So the internet was still kind of like whatever.
New-ish.
And there wasn't like these gory images like they are today, where you could just see them everywhere. So there's like, when I say a pile, I'm not talking about like 3 or 4 bodies. I'm talking like this pile was taller than grown men. You know what I mean? So there's like maybe 50, 60 bodies piled up, and then you flip the page again, and now they're on fire. All these bodies, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking
Faces of
crazy.
death shit right
crazy.
here,
I know.
right?
And he's like, I'm like, dude, and then I remember like we had this like, is
Real
that even
apocalypse
legal to
now shit.
possess? Like,
He's all doing the gangster squat.
yes,
Yeah,
they were
he's
doing
at the
like
arms.
poses, and they had their
Right.
rifles on their shoulder. I was like, bro, this dude's a fucking.
Real.
And he slept in the pizza shop on pizza boxes.
Yeah, and he fucking.
We didn't
like,
even
we didn't
know.
know when I gave him a key. He like moved in. He lived in the
Yeah,
pizza
he had a
shop.
place to
He was like the
stay.
Indian in the
That had to
cupboard
be
and
better
shit.
than the
You know.
jungles of Asia.
Them dudes know how to survive. You know what I
But
mean?
he
They
was like
didn't do
a
that stuff,
fucking.
you know?
So that's when I knew, like, man, this dude's a fucking lunatic. Like, we gotta watch
Right.
we gotta be careful with this dude. He's a fucking.
He's a real deal.
He's a homicidal killer. We don't even know if he's got PTSD issues or anything. You know.
He did.
But
And,
I was
uh,
gonna say, at least you knew where to hit him. You knew his off switch. You knew his off switch.
We set him straight from the get-go. The boss made sure he knew.
So he knew now. He knew that I was crazy. I knew that he was crazy. So I moved him to the other store because I had a store on Nelson Bonanza. And I sent him over to run the
this
one on
shit.
Trot and Pecos.
That was
Way
over
away
there with
from
me.
And I think, dude, there was like this thing where fucking.
We were a tight crew over there. We had Eduardo working with us.
Yeah, we had a lot of.
Eddie.
It was like a fucking family and shit, and it
Yeah.
was just
Eddie.
crazy. He went over there and worked, but he was always on my shit. Like, when you don't like someone, everything they do pisses you off. Like, we got to that point really quick, but he was a good worker, so I kept him. But he did this thing where he would put the fucking pepperoni under the cheese.
Under the cheese.
Oh, dude,
And
what?
I fucking go crazy.
No
I'd
one
be
likes
This ain't
that, bro.
Chicago.
Yeah.
and
This
I'd be
ain't
like,
Chicago.
bro, and then he started putting it on top as an afterthought because he'd forget to put it down. So like on a Supreme,
double
the pepperoni would be like on top of the fucking peppers, onions, and sausage. And I'm like, dude, it goes sauce, cheese, pepperoni,
Then the toppings.
topping. Like, this is like the dumb like.
We had
these
a
are the
book. We had a
pizza
book. I did a book
101.
on how to do this
Like
stuff.
this is, so I remember one day.
I would lose my shit.
Well, I remember one.
I would lose my shit.
So one day I lose my shit. He brings me this fucking like the big. What was the jumbo? I think it was 24 inches. I think. And so and it was pan pizza. So he's got this big 24-inch pan, and he's like, "Hey boss, I'm about to put this jumbo in the oven." And I look at it, and the pepperonis are sitting on top of the fucking toppings.
Doesn't work.
And he's like holding the tray in front of him, and for some reason, I just fucking kicked the tray. I just fucking kicked it, and the fucking
Hi-ya.
the pizza comes out of the pan and wrapped completely around his face.
See,
Like a squid
love
attack.
Like fucking just totally wrapped around his head and face, and he's got sauce. And I was like, oh man, I fucked up. I'm like, my bad, Gino. Like, I'm sorry, bro. I apologize.
Dude, I'm surprised you survived this
Like,
guy.
Well, no, and so like whatever. So then I find out he's living in the store. Then there was talk that he killed someone. Remember, there was talks that he killed the guy that broke our window, the homeless
Oh, yeah,
guy.
he was pretty upset.
So I had
Yeah.
Jesus.
I had
Yeah, somebody got beat up at the park.
that guy died.
Well, I don't know if Gino did.
No,
it.
I don't know if Gino. There was just the
This
The
is
hand
rumor.
of
all
God was
alleged.
moving through the
It's
park
It's
that
all,
night.
you know,
That's all I know.
definitely
Listen,
no
listen,
facts.
listen.
Statute of limitation. I'm gonna have to put a
No
disclaimer
statute
on
of
this.
limitations
on burgers.
No, I'm just
No,
saying.
I-
But no, I don't think he did it. The guy died of a heroin overdose. And people
Yeah,
was-
something.
There was like some conspiracy that this dude fucking.
yeah.
He didn't have to die.
He
You're
had
throwing a
needles
rock
on
through a
him
window.
and bags, but
But
No.
he died from his head being caved in.
Well, no,
So-
No, pizza.
So there was a day we were at the pizza store. It was like July and it was hot, and this fucking homeless guy comes in, and he's like, "I want some water," and I was like, "Would you have a cup?" And he was like, "No," and he's like, "I want one out of the vending machine," and I was like, "Well, I don't have I'd have to give you $1, but I can give you a cup of water. Let me just get you a glass of water, like from the sink." And he's like, "No, just take $1 out of the tip jar, bro, and give me a fucking drink."
I think I remember this.
And I'm
Is
like,
that
that's not how it works, bro. But I'll gladly fill up your glass all day long. Like, you can come in, I'll give you guys water all day and shit. And he's like, nah, man, I'm going to take $1 out your tip jar. And I'm going to go buy myself some water. And you're not going to do nothing about it.
that's
That's
so
a Bonanza?
surprising with like people skills like that dude was homeless.
Yeah,
that's
and-
crazy.
And so like
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
like
CEO
now,
of a
and it was
company
me and
somewhere.
Me and Ed were there.
Technically,
Oh,
yeah.
that's dropped that.
You know, so me and Ed,
Head of Wall Street
me
with
and this
that
kid Ed
attitude.
are working, and I'm like, bro, you can't just fucking like. I was like, look, man, I'm the owner, and that's their tips, and I can't just let you take their money. You know what I mean? I was like, but I want you to have water, and so he's like, no, man, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And I'm like, all right, man, have a good day. You know, and so he leaves, and then me and Ed, this kid Ed that worked there, we're sitting there talking, and then all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I see someone like running at the store, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look, and it's the same dude. He's got like a big chunk of those
rock.
parking curbs.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
how they like break off where the rebar goes through?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got like that, and he's over his head. He's got it over his head, and he runs full bore, and he gets like 5 feet away from me, and he throws it through my window.
Whoa, wow.
Big storefront window just drops. Just whoosh. And he goes, you should have gave me that $1, motherfucker.
Oh, wow.
And he runs around
He was right.
the backside of like I saw the way he went. He was right. He was definitely right. I
Hindsight being
definitely,
2020.
going back, I would definitely give him $1, but then I got to give him $1 every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When's this gonna
It's gonna add
stop?
up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
And
$2
you
the
want
next
$1,
day.
Like it's gonna add up.
You want a
So-
protection buddy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
Give me the $1.
so long story short, he runs to the right, and I'm like he ran that way. He's got to go through the alley to get out because the alley's the only way out from there. So I go out the back door, and as I go out the back door, he's coming my way. So I tackle him, and like we're wrestling in the alley, me and this fucking dude, and the cops pull up, arrest me. I get fucking handcuffed. I get put in the back of the cop car. They're like giving this dude first aid and shit. I'm like, dude, that dude broke my window. Like, go to the front. I'll play you the video. And the cop's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, you go to jail. What's wrong with you? You know, beating up fucking. and mind you, at this point, I'm still on probation for the bump fights video.
Ironically enough.
So I can't.
As in you catch him in the alleyway,
beating up a
scuffling
bud.
with a
Like you just got a repeat offender fetish over here,
Yeah,
you know.
like I can't go to jail for this. Like this could be like really bad.
When would it have been good though? Like
You
it's
know,
always
so
bad.
the dude from the
like
manicure
sequel.
spot comes outside and he tells the cop, he's like, no, that dude just damaged his building. And I was like, bro, I was just trying to catch him. He was running off. I was like, I already called you fucking. I was like, my employee's on the phone with the police right now. You know, and he's like, oh, and then he gets the call. Like, as we're talking, he gets the call, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. So they let me out, whatever. Well, then that dude just, like, disappeared. And then Gino comes in, and he's like, everything's good, boss. Everything's good.
Oh,
like,
shit.
oh, shit.
He spiked his dope.
But he did.
has
He
landed.
did. He told me they got in, like, he told me he gave him a talking to, and then, like, 3 weeks later, the dude randomly, like, overdosed on heroin
From
in the
bum
bathroom
to
at
bum.
Paradise Park. It was like, but then I didn't realize that Gino was like a homeless dude living in my store either. It was like fucking insane, bro. It
Dude, he
really-
See,
put
everybody in
bleach in
Paradise
his
Park.
fucking
See,
dope.
that's the thing though. Gino was like Hitman, like the video game.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know how you could like complete the whole game and not make it look like an assassination? They all look like he just drowned in the bathtub, or you know what I mean? Like he
No,
was
totally.
allergic to the flowers.
So,
He's like a Ray Donovan kind of
so
guy,
we
dude.
fired
Yes.
Gino for some other shit because I remember told him like, bro, you can stay here if you need to, but like you got to move out. Like you got to get somewhere to stay. You know what I mean? And if you need a little bit of a raise, I can help you, but you can't like be here. And then I think some of the other
They're like,
employees.
the pizza smells like you.
Yeah, you're supposed to smell like
It's a health code
smells like-
You're supposed, to
violation,
smell,
bro.
you're supposed to smell like sauce when you get out of here. We all smell like Gino.
Why do we smell like raw onions? You know. And so then like one of the employees found like a pipe in the bathroom, like a meth.
Oh, yeah.
know,
Not good.
And so he was like, "That's mine." He's like, "I'm sorry." I
That's
had
for
some
my
fr-"
little
But
rose
where he
boss.
fucked up was he was like, "I had some friends here and we were partying," and I'm like, "Whoa.
Yeah.
You're having fucking meth parties in my fucking back of my pizza store,
That's
bro?
definitely
like,
a health code violation.
like, this is not okay." I was like, "So you gotta leave, right?"
You get a B.
He's like, we had one of Mikey's pizzas and we haven't slept for a week.
Yeah.
They're
And so
turning
then
out
when
pies
We
left
won
and
little.
right.
It was a little league
weird 'cause
team.
The pepperoni was on top of everything, but man,
we sold the store and I boxed a bunch of stuff up, and then I think like the next year we were doing our taxes or whatever. My wife and I were going through the boxes and we found this note in the daily sheets, and it was actually a drawing on the back of one of the daily
Yeah.
sheets.
I saw that.
And did I show it to you?
Yeah.
And it said it was a drawing of me,
Hey.
like a really bad cartoon drawing of
Hey.
me, and it was a drawing of like it had like a
kill
rope
you.
around my neck.
you still have that?
Yeah, I still have it.
You need to
somewhere.
frame
Wow.
that
I need to-
shit.
yeah, and it's like it said something like die, Mike,
Yeah,
die.
it might do that.
It's like,
That's
"Die,
so
Mike,
fucked,
die."
dude.
That should be your logo.
Yeah. and then,
Seriously.
and then it said
Facts.
something like, what did it say? It said, "I want to cut your tongue off and lick my, and rub it on my balls or something.
Oh,
And I was like,
man.
oh man, I had a mercenary wanting to
Which is
fucking
something he
kill
would
me.
do because I'm pretty sure there was a picture of him with like a ear fucking necklace. I'm serious.
Wow,
Real
dude.
shit.
Yeah, he was, bro. He was a.
It was
That's just one
crazy.
character from the pizza store, and there's
Right.
like 20 million other stories of that dude
Yeah.
on
Just-
on
Yeah.
the daily run there, bro. Like that place was like.
It was a hip hop pizza shop.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was, and that's just like I said. That's just one story from like one guy. You know what I mean? Like, we definitely need to like make the fucking pizza shop. I don't know.
Anthology.
Well,
Netflix.
now here's
Yeah.
a go around from that. Pizza Dave lived in a trailer park behind the shop over on Bonanza and Nellis, and I ended up with 4 of those trailers up on my property.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All the, bro, it's like I said, everything's
I mean,
connected back to
everything's
that pizza store. That
connected.
pizza store was like ground zero.
It was ground zero.
Like, it was
With a
like
hub
the
of a lot
original
of shit.
seed of a lot of shit that happened around
yeah.
this place.
Facts.
Because
You know, circles around.
yeah, we had that Pizza Dave was the original manager of the original store. He
That
came
guy.
from Cleveland.
And he shot a guy there in self-defense.
Yeah, bro.
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
back in, like,
self-defense. Did you?
73.
Did you guys saw right? It was
Yeah, it was
self-defense.
I
self-defense.
mean, he was going to
Everybody
keep
saw.
living if I didn't do
Pizza
it.
Dave. You didn't want a piece of Dave. That's all.
Pizza Dave's not a normal person. Rest his soul. He passed
Yeah, I
away.
know.
You know.
God bless him.
He's
he
up
got
in
the
Pizza
trailers
Heaven
up
right
there.
now.
But here's the funny thing. His name was Pizza
The big
Dave.
oven in the sky.
the big,
No,
the
he
big
was
pizza
Pizza
pan in
Dave.
the sky. So his name was Pizza Dave. And he was like, he would introduce himself. It's like, hey, I'm Pizza Dave. So
hilarious.
one day, like jokingly around, he introduced himself to like the maintenance man for our like shopping center. He's like, hey, I'm Pizza Dave. And I was like, yeah, I'm Pizza Mikey. You know, like just joking around. And then after we did the meeting with the maintenance guy, he pulls me aside. He's like, hey, bro, I've been making pizza for like 35 years. He's like, how long you been making pizzas for? And I'm like, I don't know, like 4 years. He's like, and who gave you the pizza title?
Like it's an MD or
He's
something.
like, who gave you the pizza title in front of your name? And I was like, no one. You know, like I'm in the weird, like, are you serious mode? I'm like,
is this happening?
and I'm like, yeah, like, is this fucking like, we're doing this right now? And I'm like, nobody, bro. Like, I was just joking around. And he's like, well, it's really serious, bro.
I
He was
had
like,
the
it's a
same
real
experience.
serious thing. He's like, it took me 10 years working in a pizza shop from my old boss, and he gave up some name. He was like, for him to call me Pizza Dave. He's like, and I wear that proudly. He goes, so if you could just not joke around about the pizza title, he goes, I'd really appreciate it.
Hey, dude.
So he clocks out and leaves because he was the opener. So my closing shift comes in. It's like this dude and a bunch of other dudes. I'm like, hey, guys, all your fucking names are pizza.
Yeah. The first time I met that guy, Dave, I was like, hey, I'm Pizza Duce. And he was like, he just got stone faced and was like, you can't be
I
pizza.
put pizza on all the time cards. Pizza Erie, Pizza Erica,
Like,
Pizza Sarah.
you can't be
Everybody had a
pizza.
pizza title. And then,
Pizza
like,
Michaela.
That's so fucked, dude. That's so fucked,
like,
dude.
bro,
like,
but it was so funny because
Lay
it was
off.
like, bro, you're like really fucking
Serious.
Like you're too serious, bro.
First of all,
Hey,
you
dude.
can't take anything seriously when you work in any entry level position.
like,
You don't have a title, and you can't take that
No,
title
bro, he was
seriously,
Pizza
bro.
Dave,
Like
bro.
something that takes no experience to get the job, bro.
yeah,
So was he on the spectrum before there was a spectrum? Is that what you're saying? Is that-
possibly he might have
is
invented
the
the spectrum.
He might
He
have
had a
been-
song. He had a song though. It went like this. While I while away the hours, smoking all the flowers, so happy I shall be. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
He used to sing that.
They used to sing that. Pizza
Bro,
Dave.
Isn't that like if I only had a brain?
And that was a segue.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, so
God
like,
love
it
it.
was just crazy, bro. Like fucking Pizza Dave, like fucking, you know. And then me and him got into it, and oh, dude, like I said, you don't want to. We better just change. We better shift gears here because that pizza shit can go on all day, bro.
Why not?
It's a
Fuck it.
fucking,
Well, there was a problem when I walked into his trailer behind a park, and I'm finding product.
yeah.
You know, it's like this is
He's
not
got a
good.
chair made out of fucking sauce cans.
You know,
You know what I mean? He's
what
got
are
a
you
fucking
doing
porch is
here?
made out of pizza boxes.
Yeah.
People are so cocky.
You know,
like, how you gonna
you wanted to make
embezzle
fun of that
shit and then
shit,
invite
dude.
an employee over?
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
I remember.
bad.
I
It's just
remember
like the homeless dude had a big set of fucking balls on him to be like, no, you're gonna take the dollar out. Like,
I
wow,
know,
bro.
I know.
Like,
Where'd they
I
come
love
to
your
us?
confidence. Like,
I remember one day.
Crazy.
Must close
It's
escrow
crazy.
with the chicks all the time with that. You're gonna give me the pussy. But like,
Here, I'll
Yo,
tell you.
hold
I'll
up.
tell you another funny Pizza Dave story before we get at it off this topic. So Dave comes to me one day and he's like, "Hey man, we haven't had the floors like stripped and buffed since I've been here." And I'm like, yeah, but you've only been here like 6 months. You know, like we had it done before we opened.
Grand
you know,
opening,
like we just
yeah,
got to
grand
scrub the
opening,
floors
brand
better at
new.
night. You know, and he goes, well, do you mind if I book it? He's like, I'll set up the appointment and, you know, it'll be after hours and all that shit. And I'm like, you're doing it. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to stay here till fucking 4 a.m. while these dudes fucking mop the floors. You know, and like, you know, with the buffer and the, you know, all that shit. And he's like, all right, I'll set it up. So he comes to me and he's like, all right, bro, I got it set up for next Friday. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, they're going to be here at 11:30 because we closed at like 10. What's that?
$200 or something.
Do you remember?
Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I remember when the
something
floor
like
got
that.
done. It was
and-
sticky afterwards.
It was weird.
It was weird.
And so, where are we at? Oh, yeah. So he books it, whatever. And he tells me they'll be here next Friday at 11:30. And I'm like, all right, cool. So now that Thursday comes around before the day they come, and he goes, oh, man, I forgot to tell you. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I can't be here. And I'm like, well, fucking cancel it then, you know? And he goes, no, you gotta be here. And I'm like, Dave, you got 2 options here. You either cancel it or you just fucking sit here. He's like, it's my birthday. I'm like, dude, it's your 57th birthday, bro. It's no big fucking deal. You know what I mean?
He
Like,
was,
take the day off.
Named pizza.
Yeah, like fucking A, bro.
wasn't
Like,
even his
you're
real
a grown
birthday.
ass adult, bro. Like, just fucking, you booked it. I was like, cancel. So he's like, all right, fine. You're gonna make me work on my birthday. He's like, I'm clocking in. He's like, I'm clocking in.
That
And
I
I'm-
booked.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, you're the one that booked it, Dave. Like, you didn't know whatever date it was your birthday when you booked it. Like, I know. I'm not gonna. If I've got plans for my birthday, I'm not booking shit on August 14th.
You didn't recognize the date?
That's what I'm saying.
Until the day of?
March.
Oh, shit.
March
It's like I
13th,
think there's
I
something
thought.
important going on that day,
You
but
know,
yeah, book it.
And so, whatever, like Friday goes around, I work, I leave around like 8, the store closes at like 10. And a Saturday morning, like at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from the lady that owns the beauty shop down the way. And she's like, I think your store got robbed. And I'm like, why? She goes, well, I don't want to go in there. She goes, but there's a body on the floor, and the pizza oven's still on, and the music's blasting. And I'm like, what? And she was like, you better get down here.
That sounds like murder.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's a body. I was like, what do you mean a body? She's like, there's a dude face down in the back. She's like, and the door's propped open, like with the door stopper. I'm like, what? Like, oh shit, Dave was there all night by himself with the fucking waxer people. So I'm thinking the waxer people clipped Dave. So I fucking running down there like fucking, you know, I live across town. I'm like trying to get there. I finally get there, and now there's like a little crowd gathered outside the store, and then like they're all looking at me
No
and
one
they're
called
like,
EMT or emergency services.
no one called anyone. They called me, and I was like, you know, and I told them, like, I'll be right there. You know, like, we'll
Don't
figure this
call
out.
no
Don't
one.
call
Don't
no one. But remember the sign behind the counter. What did the sign say? You remember? We don't call the cops. I had that big fucking
Right,
sign.
right, yeah.
I had that fucking picture of a Glock, and it was just phrased like, we don't call the cops.
A lot of people learned that the hard way.
Yeah, and
Facts.
so I pull up, and I'm like, dude, I could see the pizza oven. I had one of those like conveyor belt ovens, and I see it moving, and I'm like, oh, dude, what the fuck? Like, they never even turned the ovens off. And so I like go in, and I see Dave on the floor face down, and there's a pizza that he stuck in the oven, and it went through the conveyor belt, but if you leave it on there, eventually it'll just slide off to the side.
Right.
So there's like 3 pizzas on the floor, like around his head. Like it looked like fucking his pizza brains got blown out. You know? Like it just was like fucking he committed suicide.
Sauce
3
and
pizzas
cheese
came out of his
everywhere.
ear.
Pizza the Hut.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I go over there, and I hear him breathing now. Like I'm close enough, and I like kick his foot, and I'm like, Dave, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And he's like, oh, and then, what are you doing? He's like all groggy, and I'm like, Dave, what the fuck is going on in here? He's like, oh, the floors look great, don't they, boss? And I'm like, nah, bro, there's 3 pizzas on the floor. He's like, and he like gets up, and then he like steps in the pizza, and he slips in it and falls. He falls down right. So now he's like hung over, and he's hurt, you know. And he like, you'd have to see him, like you know his mannerisms and everything, and I'm just like, Dave, did the pizza guys or did the waxer guys even come? He's like, oh yeah, look. And bro, they did a horrible job. Like the stuff that when they hit the buffer with, like was splattered all over the walls, like 4 or 5 inches up. You know, so someone had to scrub all that off. And then I get a call from the fucking pizza, the waxer guys, like, hey, is this the owner of the pizza store? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, we couldn't finish. They're like, we had to leave. And I'm like, why? They're like, that fucking guy. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? And he's like, bro, we don't even want you to pay us. He's like, we're supposed to come get a check today. He's like, just don't fucking call us anymore.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what do you mean? What happened and shit? And so the dude hangs up, and I'm like, Dave, what happened here last night? And so when I go to the back, there's like, I don't know, two cases worth of beer cans all over the floor. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck happened here, Dave? He goes, I don't know, man. He goes, Sweet Caroline came on the radio, things got weird, and then you woke me up. I was like, Sweet Caroline, bro, with all these beers on the floor. And I'm like, he's like, where's the guys? And I'm like, they're gone. So just picture this dude, like he throws some pizzas in the oven. He's like 2 cases of beer deep on his birthday. His fucking jam comes on, and these dudes just bail. You know what I mean? He fucking blacked out next to the pizza oven waiting for his pizzas to come out, and then they fell on top of him.
I wish we could hear their side of the story.
Bro, I
They never wanted to come back. I mean, that's
They didn't even charge me, bro. They did half a job and left.
Yeah,
so I don't even know.
God.
We have no idea what their
Unbelievable.
side of the story is. And they didn't
Oh,
even,
dude.
it was so awkward for them. They didn't even want to tell me.
Oh, wow.
You know, and so like I said, without knowing, Dave was a big dude.
They probably
Oh, he
blew
was
him.
as strong as an ox.
And
probably.
he was like,
Yeah.
you know, that like just stupid, dumb strength. Like he was
Right.
like big fucking hands,
Right.
big frame dude. He was naturally like muscular and
Right.
shit. You know
Maybe
what I mean? Like,
6 foot, you know.
Where'd he,
Yeah.
where'd he
but
grow up?
just
Was he
the
like
way-
throwing
Cleveland.
hay
Big legs
bales?
and shit.
I grew up in Akron, I think, didn't
No, he
you?
grew up in. He went to Lakewood.
I don't
Lakewood
know.
High outside Cleveland.
The
Actually,
Bone
he
Thugs
was
and
class
Harmony.
of '73. My cousin was '72.
He was the 5th member. Of
So
both
yeah, it was
Thugs.
just like to know his stature and like just know him and like that story just is like
Sweet Caroline came on.
Sweet Caroline came on the radio, things got weird, then you woke me up. And I just was like, what the hell?
Things got weird,
Things
dude.
got
That's
weird.
funny.
So yeah, like man, that yeah.
That's like a
Jesus,
great like
Dave.
excuse for anything.
Yeah,
like,
no,
like you do anything, be like, look, Sweet Caroline came on,
It-
things got weird,
Oh,
and then you're waking me up.
we would
Well, but
always
they-
we'd always just say, "Oh, we were partying."
yeah,
You know,
right.
like whatever happened, be like we're partying.
We got a shrine to
Party.
Dave up in the cantina.
Do
up
you?
at my place, yeah.
You got a what?
Little shrine to Dave.
A laminated,
His
picture of
driver's
a, lam-
license.
a laminated
You know.
slice of pizza,
You know, his old pipes, you know.
like meth pipes.
Yeah. No, it's smoke. No, not crack. I don't think he did crack. No. I didn't crack. No,
What are you
That's
doing up there,
funny.
John, in the cantina?
it wasn't crack.
We lighted some.
But we
meth
do have 2
incense for him
zigzag
at night.
dispensers that I got from the Champ show.
Oh, that's what's
Sitting
up.
behind
Yeah,
the bar.
that dude was those were like I said, man. And then he was in charge, like he was running the show over there. Like he was
Pizza
my
Dave.
manager. You know what I mean? And like, I would get these employees would call me with these Dave stories, and I'd be like,
Well, look at how you let him go.
My
You
bad.
told him, go home. I don't want to hear from you.
yeah.
And what do you call you? 3 times the same day? And then
Yeah.
you said, all right, you can have the next day off too. And if you call me again, you're fired or something like that, as I think how
Yeah,
it went
you were
down.
there. You remember? Yeah.
You gotta
That's how
imagine
that
when
went down.
pizza's in your name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one
You
can
die
tell you
without
different,
it.
dude.
Yeah, that's got to be a blow to your ego to get fired from the pizza shop.
Well, you know,
Come on.
it kind of just hearing of this guy, it almost reminds me of like Woody Harrelson in Kingpin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's just so you know, just the pizza guy, like almost like a pizza sommelier. Like he can taste the sauce and tell you, like,
Yeah.
you know, like where the tomatoes came from.
They were grown on the west side
The valley.
of a vineyard in Spain.
No, and he was like he was,
In May.
but when he would make the dough, it was like
The Western slope.
when he would make the dough, it was like fucking. You had to be out of his way. You know what I mean? Like leave him alone. Like he's back there, like fucking. You ever see Boondock Saints?
Nope, I haven't.
You've never seen Boondock Saints? Damn,
No.
I can't use that reference then. But it was like he would put his music on, and he would just get in the fucking zone. You know what I mean? And he would come in early because he lived right behind the store.
You upset him when you brought me out. Because when I came out from Ohio to go to work, how was I introduced?
Pizza John.
No.
Pizza John.
I put the music
I was the
on.
doologist.
Oh, man, yeah. See, like,
You know? And
shit
that
that just-
offended him.
See, this shit is
The
just has to
doologist?
stop right
He
here.
was,
Right?
he was offended. The doologist come out
and
from
then he
Cleveland.
grilled him. He thought we brought out like the ringer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was very curious.
Let
as
He's
to
got it
this,
from my
like,
Test
job.
your
I
pizza
wrote the
knowledge.
book. I took all this information on how to make everything from Dave, and I put it in a book.
Oh, that drove him nuts. He's like, this dude's making manuals.
I'm there, man.
He's like, who is this dude? He goes, I remember the best. Here's the best line. Here's the best line.
This guy from Cleveland.
Because John was a driver. John was out here doing taxes. You know what I mean? And he was just like driving part time. But he was the doughologist too. Like, and so Pizza Dave got really offended by that. And I remember Pizza Dave pulled me aside one day and he goes, "That's not no ordinary driver, is it?"
That's the best shit ever.
It was a fun.
And I'm like,
He's also an avian proctologist.
and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I've never. He goes, listen, man. He starts telling me, he's like, listen, because Dave was like, that person who's just like diehard to the craft, like knows every rule and you can't break the rules.
Yeah.
So he's just like a fucking purist to the pizza game. And I remember him telling me, he's like,
He's
listen,
the main
man.
gear.
He's like, this is why you hired me to be your manager, because I just got to let you know, drivers don't make dough.
Drivers drive.
Drivers drive and they fold boxes.
It's in their title.
Yeah.
It's actually in their title.
In a pinch, they might wash dishes. In a pinch.
In a pinch.
They could, everybody was like, he was such a purist. I remember he was like, and he would have like the same tone when he told me about the pizza title. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
man.
drivers, hey man, drivers don't make dough.
Don't make dough.
And I'm like, well, this one does, man. I was like, we're all on the same team.
It's funny because it's like self-affirming in his little world. He's like, and this is why I'm Pizza Dave. That's why you don't have the title. Is the whole world crazy? Like, this dude is like so hyped in his own little world. It's just like, this world is all crazy. You can't do that.
We broke the norm when the doughologist came to town.
And
Mikey had to keep him in line. He was
OCD.
Mikey was 19, 20 years old. And this guy was in his late
40s, pushing
early
50 at the
50s.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I was.
And he's
50
like,
when
this
I got
like
to
punk
town.
kid doesn't know anything about
you're
pizza.
just doing shit to run a business.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then I got this pizza purist every time I do something like pulling me aside. But it's not like there's no real game being exchanged here. Like he's not educated. Like nothing serious is going
Not
on.
really giving
it's
you,
things
like, jewels.
you can't have the pizza title.
You were clowning on him all the time.
Drivers don't make dough. What's that, John?
You were clowning on him all the time because he was so serious, and you were still, a teenager and having
I'm
fun.
fucking smoking
Well, that's how
weed.
Mikey
I'm coming
still
to
is, though.
I'm coming like you
Blame that on
my
age.
personality. You know what I mean? Like we're smoking weed. We're coming to the pizza store. Like I'm having fun. I'm coming to it with my friends.
Yeah.
We're making pizza. We're
Hired
hanging
your
out.
bunch.
We're gonna go out. You know, what I mean, I'm going to watch a
Smoking blunts
game at
in
my
the
friend's
back.
house. I'm swinging by, grabbing 40
Nice
wings and
rides,
some
too. The
pizzas.
cars you were working on and stuff. Then.
Yeah,
That was your
I was
passion.
I was a different person back then.
Mikey would come in,
no
make
kid.
ribs. So he'll make a whole bunch of shit, right? Like he's working, and then just load it up in the car.
my spot. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want.
Totally.
Just come and get dinner for the kids and shit.
Yeah, like fucking- that's what I'm doing. Excuse me, pass them through.
Yeah, right.
Work through the work line here, take some pizzas home. But like Dave would always have like this fucking oh my, and then he was so like old school and like I had to tell him like fucking, like he would call. You remember Brittany?
Go get your fucking shy box.
Well, like, remember Brittany? So I had this black girl, teenager, work in the front. She was like a
Dave was hot on her.
registered girl. But he kept referring to her as the the colored broad. The colored broad.
How old school are you?
I'm
Yeah,
like, bro,
dude.
I'm like, you can't say that, bro.
That was like my grandparents.
Right.
They'd be like,
and I'm like, Dad, you
colored
can't.
kids.
I'm like, you can't say that in front of.
It's the 21st
like in front
century.
of customers. Now, mind you, there's no Yelp, there's no Google reviews at this time. It's still early in the day. You know what I mean? But like he'd be in front. There'd be like a waiting room full of people on a Friday, and he'd be like Brittany would be in the back, like putting the ticket up on the thing. Tell the colored broad they added another basket of wings.
It's like, bro, not in public. Like, you know that.
And that's I'd have to like fucking like
Just in closed rooms.
I'd have to like discipline him in front of. I'm like I was constantly apologizing for this dude. And I remember one time. We're at the front, and this fucking dude comes up, and there's two guys, because I had two registers at that store, and there's two guys in the front, and there was like the regular customer was on the right, and there's a first-time customer on the left, and I'm on the phone in between the two registers, and there's two register girls working. Dave brings the regular guy his order, and he pats it. He gives it to the guy. When the guy takes it, he pats the boxes on the top. He goes, "I made your order extra special for you, my friend." And then the new customer looks at me. Well, who's making my fucking order? He's like this grumpy construction, and he goes, "Who's making my fucking order? Why is this guy getting a special fucking order?" I'm like, dude, he's joking. They're joking. And then Dave goes, "Well, I don't know you." And I'm like, Dave, don't. Like, Dave's going to have this argument with the guy. He's going to say, no, I did make his better than I'm making yours. And then Dave goes, I don't fucking know you. And I've never seen you around, so why would I put any special attention to your pizzas?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, Dave,
the color girl's gonna make it for you.
I'm like, Dave, bro, like you can't,
That's
you can't
great.
fucking talk to the customers like that, you know? And he's like, why not? I can make a special pizza. And I'm like, Dave, we're a franchise store. Everything's supposed to be the same. You know what I mean? And he goes, I'm fucking out of here. I'm supposed to be off 20 minutes ago. I'm working late to make that guy's pizza special. I'm like, again, shut the fuck up.
I'm pulling OT for this guy, boss.
Yeah, dude.
Like, dude, just get the fuck out of here. So right, and you can ask John, like, every other day it was get the fuck out, Dave. Like, just fucking leave.
You know what, man? This
He's
shit is
driving
like
you
all in the
crazy.
family, and I swear to God, it's like if we can get all the Archie bunkers, right, from 20 years ago that we knew, right? Because you can't do and say the same shit now that you used to be able to do.
the
Yeah.
PC
Everything,
crowd
right?
is
Everything
crazy.
is so
They won't even put it
inflammatory.
on the
Everyone's
air,
all
you
triggered,
know.
right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
But
it's
it's
crazy.
like everyone's Archie Bunker. When you think about it, it's like it's the same kind of, couple years removed of just that same shit. And it's like, man, we need that shit, man. Like, I love when people make things socially awkward. That to me is like the best TV show in the world.
Oh, bro, like,
It's like
People think.
bro, if you know it's gonna be awkward, I'm like, yo, let's go.
but we're all
Like,
like,
oh, man,
at a certain age where we grew up around these
I
people.
love that shit.
You know, we grew up around people
Yeah.
that were just abrasive and rude, and
Yeah,
you know,
it's life.
looking at today's life like fucking like,
Snowflakes.
yeah,
Well, you-
just those rude older guys, you know.
Yeah, you know
don't
what's
know.
funny is I never like it was not a part of my vernacular or anything, but I never saw like the bad side of somebody saying colored people or anything, because my grandparents, they were from, they grew up during a depression and shit, you know what I mean? That was like how they talked, you
Right,
know what I mean? It
exactly.
was like, but there's no like vehemence to it, but now today, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, how everybody being triggered, but like immediately they'll just go to calling you a racist or calling you a transphobic because no one can have the argument.
Well, you
know
guys
what
get
I
it
mean?
the worst at this point. You know what I mean? Like white, middle-aged, cis.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, it's-
Biologically male gendered. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it-
all
it's
these
so
labels
over the top.
too.
It's so exactly, and
I
that's,
think-
and that's the point. Like once you start labeling and categorizing people and separating people, you're doing the exact same thing. You're trying to blame them up.
No, 100%.
And if you look at someone and use anything to describe them besides the content of their character, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that
automatically
comes
doing
down
what they're
from the quote-unquote ruling class of politicians that sit there forever and ever.
Absolutely not.
And the Senate's allowed to
Absolutely.
get away with insider trading.
Absolutely not. This shit that's human nature.
You know?
Bottom line.
Well, that's
Is shit,
No,
but
we're all
shit has
workers
always been
to that
fucked
ruling
up, right?
class.
Shit has always been fucked up before any of us are here, right? We've inherited everything.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
100%.
they're the
And-
divorce attorneys, and we're the ones fighting over the scraps.
Well, I don't
the
even know if we're
Republicans
fighting.
and the
We're just being
Democrats,
fed
so many of them have
scraps.
share their dinners together. You know, you and I, our wives, we're getting divorced, and the attorneys, they know each other, and they're
Yeah.
figuring out how much you got to fight over. That's why, like with Social Security right now, the best thing that could happen for you young guys, if you could put the money in an IRA account.
Yeah,
Look how
no,
much
that's what
money
I've
you'd
been
have when you
doing.
go to retire.
Well,
and what they should do is take the half of the Social Security that the employer pays in, because your employer matches what goes in for you, and pay that to the old people. Keep paying that into Social Security till we die off.
Well, how about
but then
this?
you young guys should be able to put your own money in your own
How
account.
about this? How about
I have
people
been, but not
stop
that money.
looking outward and look inward and take agency in themselves and stop worrying about what the
100%.
government's going to do.
Right, right,
what
exactly, Duce.
the ruling class is going to do,
Right.
and actually appreciate the opportunity that we all have
Right.
and
make
grasp
something
it.
of it.
Exactly.
And create
that's
something.
the difference. You know what I mean? If
'Cause
you
you're
want to
an
be a
individual.
victim, you could be a victim.
Well,
If you want to, you know,
And
what I
that's
mean?
how they
Well,
want
no,
you to
it's-
think. They raise us to think that we're entitled and we're victims, and that's why there's so many snowflakes
But that's
running
not.
around.
But that's not the case. They don't raise us to think any way in particular.
It
See,
comes
you
osmosis.
Are you are who you are in spite of or because.
Right,
Of.
in spite of
You-
it.
But you choose. You choose. If you have kids, you know they'll have the same parents and come out to
Well-
two different kind of people.
Well, stuff has been cultivated. Stuff has been. A lot of this has actually been manufactured. It's been pushed and driven into a certain way, and on multiple levels. But a big thing that you mentioned is what Martin Luther King said, that you know, you judge somebody by their character, not the content of their skin. You know, and that goes back to the Bible of by their deeds you shall know them. It's not what they say, it's what they do.
Thank
You know, and that's exactly the thing, is like people don't look at that, and they look at anything that they can to justify their thing, you know, and they'll use it whether it's in context or not.
Exactly.
There's something that's actually been going on right now, and it's something that I personally am going to bat for, just because of how ridiculous this is. But the OK sign, the made you look deal, right?
Yeah.
You know, the old out of the pocket, right? Being this whole white power thing. People are saying it's like white power because of the W. Yeah, the
or WP.
but this
White
was also
power, fucking-
yeah, but this was also you know, people say this was 666 for the devil, like because of it formed 3 6s. You'd see like Illuminati people, you know, doing it over the eye. There's all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you know, but here's one of the things. As a kid, it was always a thing of like made you look fucking
My question is,
two for flinching kind of thing.
What is wrong
Made you look.
with it, even if it was white power?
Well, I don't like clannish.
No,
I don't like
I'm being
clannish.
serious.
No, I understand
Here's the thing,
that. I
here's
don't
the
think
thing.
it's good that people be clannish. You know what I mean? And that's what happens
But
if
you're
you're
allowed
around your
to.
own people.
But you're allowed to.
You are allowed
That's
to.
what being
Right.
tolerant is about.
Right.
It's about allowing other people to have the freedom, as long as they don't encroach upon your freedom.
Right.
And unless you want to start putting up blockades to that, then
Right.
be prepared to have blockades put up to your freedom. That's
Right.
what it comes down
Oh,
to.
yeah, no,
It's about how you treat people. Like you said, your
Right.
deeds, your whatever your thought process is or your belief system, who cares? You could be as racist as you want to be. Don't treat people racist, and I'm fine.
Well, you
That's
know,
what I
a
mean.
profound
Like-
thought. What you just
well,
said.
here's
really,
here's
you know, that's outrageous. That's
I was gonna say
big heart. That's good.
I mean, but it's the truth. Why would I?
Yeah. Why would you give a shit what the others are doing?
Exactly,
anyways?
because the thing is
you're
like
your
this.
own leader.
But not even that though. I don't want you to tell me what I could believe,
Right.
and the only way that works is if I don't tell you what you could believe.
well,
Right.
this is
That's the only way it works.
well,
Right.
this is
But I
this
like
is
the
what's
fact that
going
we
on.
can have a civil discussion on that thought process.
Hey,
you know?
but John, this is what's going on. You have like, you know, let's say the freedom of speech, the First Amendment, right? You have that and stuff, and now there's these motions in play to stifle free speech and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's the number one thing that you want to keep intact is the opposing argument.
You have to.
You
You
know,
have to.
because someday your speech will be the one that is in the minority, and it's
If-
the minority that you need to protect. You know.
Well, no, it's not the minority. It's everyone that needs to be protected.
Well,
See, 'cause here's the thing, right?
hold on.
Right,
The
follow
ultimate,
your
the
part,
ultimate
your
minority
thought.
is the individual, and that's what's like left out of this context.
But it's
Right.
not though, because here's the thing, right? It's like the same thing, like when women always talk about their rights or what they don't have, right? Look, you have 50% of the population. Anything you want to make poppin', you can make poppin'. But the reason why male-driven things are more like popular is because the men fuck with it and the women fuck with it. Women create shit, and even the women don't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like
Well, a lot
if-
of women help their man create stuff.
It doesn't
you know,
matter. The
more
point
that
is like
way.
this: it's they have the power in the numbers, and everyone has
Right,
the power
right,
in the numbers.
right.
If the over-branching amount of people thought a certain way, then that would be what it is.
Right.
You have to understand, like in a democracy,
well, in a
what
sense,
you have to go with the majority, and if the majority thinks a certain way, that's why we have countries. That's why we have states. That's why
But
we
the
have
majority's
cities.
got to protect that individual rights to say whatever the frick he wants to say.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
if hate speech was, let's say, outlawed, right?
Right.
Then we'd still be
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't be
yeah,
like
that's
fuck England back.
ridiculous.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
200
yeah.
some odd
well,
years
then what
ago.
constitutes hate speech? Who gets to determine
Right,
that? You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like,
Exactly.
and you know, and here's the other thing though, that you're saying is, I'm keep losing my thought here, but the unpopular speech that you have, right? That somebody has, as long as you're, and this has always been the rules about it, as long as you're not inciting violence,
Right.
right? Or
Yelling
eh,
fire.
or you have to understand the fact that whatever you say, the freedom to say it is not without consequence. you know, and
True.
and a lot of people, they try to hide. They'll say a lot of stuff. They'll try and hide it
Like
through
the
art.
bottle story.
What's
like the guy with the bottle that Mikey had to confront because
Yeah.
he kept talking crap, you know.
Hiding
And then when
behind
he's
the
actually
internet.
confronted with what he
Oh, yeah.
said, then he's
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
well, there's a-
confounded.
Yeah, there's a lot of that out there, you know, where people they don't own up to it and stuff. But the the thing is like you have the platform. All right, I'm gonna kind of shift this just a little bit, but the platform, you have Facebook, you have YouTube, you have, you know, all this stuff where they're banning, and it's like right now, right-wing conservatives.
Yeah,
or, you know,
James
don't,
Woods.
But
But
don't,
hold on.
wait, don't get conflated, right?
Wait,
the
no,
freedom
hold on,
of
hold on.
speech is
Hold on,
for
hold
the
on, let me-
government in public, not on Facebook, not on Twitter. Those are private companies. And
Yeah,
they
but
get
that's
to,
still
But they're not- but
bullshit.
they're-
but they're
not-
censor
What are
anybody
you
like
talking about?
James
It's
Woods.
it's a private.
James Woods is Screen Actors Guild
It
brother like
doesn't-
myself.
It doesn't matter. When you have your own platform, you can make your own rules.
Well, they
That's-
got the right to
Okay.
refuse service to
Now,
anybody.
that's
So
my
the
point.
guy
Hold
that
on.
don't want to make
Hold
a
on.
cock cake, then he should be allowed to be left alone and not
But
sued
yet
by the
it-
gays.
But here's where this argument has holes poked in it,
Right.
because you don't become you don't become as big and of a platform as they have become without government help and government funds, and this is
Doesn't
on
matter.
this is on
Yeah, it
record
kinda
because
does, 'cause
That doesn't
it's only the
matter.
that's
people.
taxpayer money.
Well, then that's like
okay?
McDonald's serves shitty food, right? But look at how much of a
And you can
presence
stay
they
away
have.
from
Hold
it.
up. Look at how much of a presence they have,
and
right?
in
They're
what
just
regard?
as ubiquitous.
Yeah, but you can
You
go
know
to
what I mean?
Burger
Okay, but
King.
that's-
you can
yeah,
go to
but I'm not
Wendy's.
going-
Right, but
I'm
they're
not
all
going-
Facebook,
crappy.
where are you going to go? MySpace?
I'm not saying
But
it-
you don't have to go on these things. It's not a requirement.
It's
No,
the
I
town. It's
understand
yeah,
that,
but
if
no,
you're
but
open
actually,
your door to do
no, but
business,
no, but see, here's the thing.
you're changing the story.
Hold on, hold
You're
on.
opting in.
Because of help in government, just like big business and stuff like that, with the deals that they have set up with the data collecting with the NSA,
Right.
and working with the CIA and the
There you
FBI
go.
and all
There's
this stuff,
the
right?
points there, right?
Now this is money. This is money that's being used. And you know the irony: the CIA had this thing called LifeLog. That they wanted to do that was exactly like Facebook. The day it goes down, Facebook goes live. And this is all researchable. You can see the shit. This is all stuff you can look up online. This is actual factual stuff. Now, they wanted to have it to where they had all this data collecting. Facebook goes live and starts spreading the way it does. All right, you see all these different changes, different morphings. All right, YouTube has been working
With their
the
AI
same
and all
way.
these things, right?
Has been working the same way. It's
But what's
been,
your issue with it?
well, here's my this is my thing.
Censorship.
Yes, and this is my thing. What were what's disguised as a private business is a government operation, and it's funded, and it's definitely there's a lot of that because there's a lot of the people that the inventors of it, you're right, and you've seen these you've seen these lectures where they're saying they're like, this is how we target it, like this is a terrible thing that we've done.
okay,
We use
but-
hold on. They're saying that we use flicker rate and all sorts of stuff that was technically illegal,
Right.
All right. But what they did is they used government funds, and they used the ability to use politicians and other government agencies to stifle competitors and other businesses to where they've completely monopolized the market. So now they've become the town square. They become the barking place. Okay, this is where people now they generate big money. They generate a lot of influence, and it's gone out of the control of ultimately what they've done. It's kind of snowballed a little bit.
There's no Burger King at a McDonald's.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing is, there's no way this platform could grow without following the guidelines that they had. Okay, hold on.
I disagree.
Hold on.
I
Well, this
disagree.
is what's being argued in court. But
it
hold on.
wouldn't grow if people actually used the free market system
Hold on.
and did not opt in to use the product.
Okay, but here's the thing. The product is
monopoly.
it's a place for self-expression. They do not editorialize, okay? They do not editorialize like the New York Times. So that means they can't be sued by your content, my content.
Right.
But now when they're editorializing, they're saying this is what you can see and this is what, so they should be able to get sued because they're telling you can't think for yourself. They're going to tell you what they say is
Right.
news or real
That's
news.
why James
But
Woods
here's
is
the other
knocked
thing.
off.
This is what's happening. This is being done by the tech
Bullshit.
giants. Okay, but here's the thing. You're not going to grow a platform as big as these that they have to the point to where they are today without having both sides. Okay, and what we're seeing here, and people are like, start your own platform.
Right.
They're not going to be the same without having both sides of the argument where both people.
Exactly.
Now everybody that's leaning one way is going to be on the other. You have things that are called. You have Gab, you have Minds,
So-
you have Steam It, you have BitChute, you have all these different things, but they're all right leaning. They're
me ask you
all
a question
echo
then.
chambers,
So
so they're
then-
not growing
So
like
then
they would.
who do you believe is the majority in power?
What do you mean? Religion,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty.
scientifically, medically,
That's a pretty broad
the
scope.
government?
Well, you're
Because-
talking about, like,
because-
in the tech
be-
world.
There's all kinds of
because my
powers.
thing is like this, right? If everything is right leaning, right?
I wouldn't say
and-
that. I would say the powers
then
that
do they
be
have
are
a
fighting
monopoly?
it.
And you're saying they have a monopoly on it? Then it's probably because they're the majority. Because I don't see how the smaller group would be able to control the larger group.
I think the left leaning is a
what
larger
in
group.
what regards? Well,
Well,
you
and,
see the left.
thing is like this in
The left has had a
in a
con-
democratic
control.
republic, right? In a democratic republic which we live in, it's majority rules, right? We
We're a,
vote.
we're a
with
constitutional
minority
republic.
rights.
Republic. You're right. Sorry. But it's majority rules, right?
With
So
minority
No, it's
rights.
not. No, it's not majority of rule.
when we vote,
Yeah, no, it's
But the minorities got rights. That's
Yeah, yeah.
right? But I don't
mean,
see how.
It has to be. It has to be unanimous in respects to the individual and protecting
See,
individual
I
rights.
that's
mean,
what the
okay,
Constitution
Because
is for the
otherwise it would be
individual.
51% tells the other 49% how to
exactly
live.
Right.
what to do.
You know, it's the
that's-
Ben Franklin two wolves and a sheep arguing over what's for dinner.
right.
You know, so in order to protect, but the thing is when you have right now all the tech giants seem to be into this very big left globalism. Now you have, and I'm not a left or right guy, okay, but right
Just
now
call it
in
the way
the
you see
in the Republican Party, it's being fragmented, it's being shattered right now. The left is dealing with it in a different way. You have the old rhinos that are in charge. The old rhinos are in charge of the Democrats. Okay, the Democrats that are pulling the big strings. These are the war guys. These are the guys that are tied in with the Saudis. These are the Bush family, the Clinton family.
Lot of
They're
money
tied
in war.
into the royalty shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Well, now here's where the fragmenting comes apart over on this side. Is you have on the Republican side you have this new backlash of conservatism that's getting away from
the
this
Trumpsters,
big
I
left.
think.
Yeah, you have a lot of that, and you have more billionaires that are going to get into politics like Trump, which is happening all around the world because they are less paid for. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like they're
exactly.
kind of
I would
coming
like
out
to
of.
think
They're
he's
kind
his
of
own guy, and he just wants to rent you a room. Where everybody else is politicians and lawyers, like I said earlier, fighting like a divorce. The attorneys are friends.
Career-long politicians are
They're buddies.
yeah, they're bought and paid for. They're these little moving parts in this
right.
political
You have
game.
to make relationships. You know what I mean?
So
to
this is-
lubricate
For
the
This is the
compromise,
thing.
you would hope so.
Hold
but
on.
when you hear Pelosi's husband is over there with the Chinese, and they ruined Molycorp here in town because they cornered the market on rare earth minerals, then you say, "Holy shit!" You
But
know?
see, the thing, the reason why I don't take issue with any of these things that happen, is because ultimately they're not suppressing the people. Like we have freedom of speech. Like we're on a podcast right now, right? And we can say whatever we want.
Not
And
all
they're
not-
platforms.
They're yeah,
I mean,
no, but-
without consequence of legal action.
But yet again, that's their platform.
but it's promoted
If
as
you're
a
on PB
platform
if
of
you-
having both sides of the argument. That's what they say.
Doesn't matter if you believe everything that people tell you. That's not like under oath, right? You can't hold them to
But
that.
now we need to define the lines because here they still have on you still have bless you. You still have actual hate groups on these platforms, but then you have health and wellness people who are anti-big pharma, they're anti-vaccines, and you have people who are anti-tax, right? They're sovereign citizens. You have people who are conservative. You have people who are anti-abortion, and they're just taking them off right and left. Now, this is what I was getting about politicians and how things are being shattered. Okay, is you have all these tech giants who were throwing money into the Clintons and on the Democratic side because it was a landslide. Trump was a joke, right? Right?
Right.
And all that stuff like that. Well, after he didn't win, they're going back, or after she didn't win, they're going back and they're looking and they're like, they used our platform against us. We couldn't stop what they were doing and all this stuff. Everything we threw out, there was a counter argument for, right? And everything they had to keep dropping.
Right.
I mean, and this is the timeline. I'm not favoring anybody. I'm just calling it how I see it. You know, this is the real deal.
Right.
Right. And so now you start seeing all these people being picked off. We're getting into election season, and again, this isn't just conservatives. We're getting into health and wellness people, and these pages were organically brought up. My one friend, and you know Tino, right? The Peace 11 Pit Bulls, Tino, the guy that kicked Raid Zone in the chest.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Tino, yeah.
Yeah, Tino. He had this YouTube, or he had his YouTube and his Facebook page, right? Nothing going on. Then he makes this video of his pit bull bandit running on a treadmill playing the Rocky theme.
Cool.
Goes viral.
10 million views.
But copyrights went after him for the music?
Yeah, so he couldn't
Really?
make it. He couldn't make any money off of it, right? But he's all of a sudden his YouTube channel has got hundreds of thousands of people, tens of millions of
God
views on
bless
this,
him.
right? And then his Facebook page, 500 and some, right?
Right.
Well, then they start changing everything, and they want money for him to,
Exactly.
so people can see and all that stuff, right? And he doesn't do it. So, but he's still posting stuff, and he's getting tens of thousands, not the 100,000, views and all that stuff. He's getting tens of thousands. It's getting whittled down, right?
Wow.
As soon as Trump wins, off of his, he never posts anything political on his Pitbull page, but on his personal page, all of a sudden he starts losing all these people, all stuff. This starts going. Everything is just leaving his Facebook page. Then it gets stolen, and he's got like 500. I think he's had like 400,000 people when it got stolen. Then when he gets it back, it's like he had to fight for it to get it back and all stuff. But it's after he
outrageous.
after
I didn't know
he
went through all
yeah,
of this.
after his shit, after he was like, dude, he goes, everything was fine. No one had a problem with any of my political jokes or anything, because he's a comedian.
Right.
And he goes, then all of a sudden, he
haven't
goes,
seen
as
him in
soon as
months,
Trump
though.
wins, he goes, my fucking shit just gets whacked.
Yeah, but
Who's
that's
Tino.
That's a ridiculous
Oh, yeah,
correlation,
yeah.
though. That's a ridiculous correlation because you
I
could
wanna
just
know.
say
Well-
when January 1st came, that's what it was. I mean, how many other different things happened that could have contributed to that? That's a leap.
Well, they
the thing is-
closed me down at one point.
But that's a leap, though.
But
to
they
say
did
that
their-
it-
about a month.
Well, they did their adpocalypse or whatever they
yeah,
called it
I
on
dealt
that.
with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
demonetized my whole channel. and
Yeah,
everything.
see, I didn't know because I got 8 subscribers on one and 11 on the other. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea what any.
What's Tito though doing? I mean, when's he's been on stage and stuff?
Yeah, he's in L.A. He's he
Nice.
he does the dog training and all that
You
stuff
know,
I
like
haven't
that.
seen him in months. So
He sells
why?
he
How
sells like
long's he been
CBD
doing it?
oils
See, the
and shit
thing
for
is
the
like
dogs.
this.
Oh, wow.
I agree with that the government does a lot of things to influence the people on one level, but you
Well,
have
they
to.
made
but
they
you
made
have to
propaganda
understand,
legal in 2013.
Like to go back what I said before, we all live in an inherited world, right? So we're gonna make policies and we're gonna, try to prophesize what the future is gonna be like. But who 100 years ago could have really seen the way the world is today? 50 years ago.
George Orwell.
I was going to
Well,
say,
yeah, but a small amount of people, though, right? And how many of those people have the ambition to go into politics or become leaders, right? So
it was actually like the Rockefellers and the Carnegie Endowment
right,
and
but-
stuff like that.
Right, but did they really see like the technology that we have, right? Could you have guessed 100 years ago that the internet would have been a thing? Absolutely not. I don't think so.
Well,
right?
here's what happened.
They,
My old man.
they
now,
actually
this is
talked about
serious.
that in like the 20s and 30s.
Well, there's
Okay,
there's
but-
stuff
well, there's
like
still-
like
well, of
they were
course-
going to shape the
well,
out. They were
of
going to
course-
shape the future.
Of course, it's visionaries, right?
What's the story behind like the illegalization of hemp? Like, wasn't it because of I forgot like the
Well, it was because of
I feel like-
textiles
Yeah,
and paper
well, I
yeah,
feel like-
and,
with
and
the
oils.
Hearst
and stuff.
family.
Well,
or
I feel like
something, right?
Yeah.
like
Because
our biggest crops were like tobacco and cotton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and well,
hemp
and it
was-
was.
Well, I mean, you
it
have
was
that
hemp.
guy
Those
who
industries.
foresaw
And
something
you do a lot
happening
with
and then
hemp.
Yeah.
A lot of
stopped
products.
it. You know what I mean?
Everything
Like,
can be made out of hemp.
so I mean, those
They-
thought
they'd,
processes were around.
But the thing is like this. But see, that's my point
investments.
though. But those are people, right, that had ancient type thought process, right, or at least 100-year-old type thought process, right? So it doesn't apply to today, right? Those are the Archie bunkers we're talking about, right?
Well,
so today we're gonna make decisions for people 50, 100 years in the future, and we don't know what's gonna be like, and we don't know how we're gonna be viewed as in the future, right? So we think we're PC, we think we're moving forward, but we are going to be the Archie Bunkers of that future, right?
Right.
So
We can blow up this future.
right.
Hey,
So,
have
so
you
the
ever-
thing is, I think we forget there's this element of time that things don't happen overnight. There's a long process, sometimes generationally, before we get to the point that we're going. And that's where the disconnect, I think, is, because everyone's like, oh, well, they did this and they did. Look, everyone has to take agency for themselves. If you don't like something, then don't participate. If you have issue with the social media platforms, then don't go on them.
But the thing of it
Then
is,
don't
that
go on them.
But that's
they
where-
suck
that's
you
where-
in like the
that's
fly
where-
to the honey.
Well,
But
well, that's
see,
the thing is that's
it's
where
like the civil
that's where all
rights
the
movement.
that's
That
where all
worked.
that's where all the business and commerce is going. And
Thank
right
you.
now, how do they spread the word? They spread it through
It's-
social media and
Right.
hashtags.
How do I
No.
get
You
my
know?
act out
No.
there?
Yes,
That's-
yes and no. But here's the thing.
I mean, because I sure as fuck don't listen to radio,
here's the
and that's
thing.
like a
Right.
dying medium. As
But it's,
Right.
but
you
it's,
know
it's
what I mean?
absolutely not a dying medium, because every time people get in their car, they still listen to the radio.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's what you
And you'll
got to
be
do as a
surprised.
businessman is figure
Right.
out what
No, you still
avenue
gotta-
you're going to do to make a buck,
But
and
the-
that's what this country's
Well,
run
that's what
on
I'm
by
saying.
businessmen,
But that's
not
my
politicians,
point.
not lawyers.
But there's opportunity in this capitalist market, right? So when you were in radio in the 70s or 80s, right, and they were blocking you out of that, well, guess what came along? The internet.
Right.
And new industries open, and
Yeah.
new venues.
we gotta
See what
come
I'm
up
saying?
with
So
something
that's
new,
what I'm
'cause
saying. So the
Facebook
thing is like
sucks.
this. It's not about to complain about the way the system is. Number one, it's about to rebel, protest, and become innovative to move forward.
like that idea.
And,
But see,
and
this
give
isn't-
different
Yeah, we gotta
avenues
come up
so
with a
that
new
we're not
idea.
stuck to that.
These platforms though, this isn't your it's built and it's made to look like it comes out of a garage and it's this organic thing, but it's just like Apple. They
It's
they
growing
become
humongous.
they came a very vicious, shrewd and astute
Right.
Observations on how to really
Right.
how
But-
to
Manipulate people.
monopolize.
But here's the thing.
Okay,
All those dudes that started Apple, right? When they started it,
But what-
did they come from elite like bloodlines?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Out
So
of a
that
garage.
so that opportunity
Entrepreneurs.
is there, and that's
Right.
my
and
point.
once you grow
Right.
once you grow
I
up
wish
to
we
a
could
certain point, once
protest
you
Facebook.
once you grow up to a certain point though, right? You start becoming that evil corporation, if you will. You start using that, and
Look at
you,
Bill
and you start
Gates.
shutting down.
Bill Gates is the #1 supplier of mosquito nets to Africa and AIDS relief, personally,
Nice.
because he doesn't have the red
Foundation.
tape of going through this person, that person. If he
Right.
wants to cut a check, he just does it. So you send money to these charities, and there's a whole bunch of red tape. There's a whole bunch of committees have to sit down, figure it out. Not with him. Now, you mentioned the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, all these things. Well, guess what? 100 years from now, we'll have the Gates, the Winfreys, the Carters.
Right.
And then we'll see.
And the Duces.
Well,
Why
the
not?
Hines,
We
but-
can
yeah,
do it
sure.
too. you
Sure,
know?
but you know what I mean? The Combses, like, we have, black billionaires now.
Mm-hmm.
And 100 years from now, those families, they're going to have, generational wealth beyond,
know
what
what it gets
black
down
families
to?
normally have now.
Yeah.
It's going to make a difference.
Are you excited when you get up in the morning? That's the important thing.
Are you what?
Excited
I'm
about your
excited
day,
every
what
day.
you're going to create? Because we are beings that were born to create. If we're not creating, we're stagnating.
No, we're not.
I get
No,
overwhelmed.
we're
No.
creating. If you
No.
ain't
Get
creating,
overwhelmed.
you're a cog in the wheel working a job.
We create, but that's what causes all the issues.
No, it
See,
doesn't.
no,
that's
it
what
does.
creates
No,
all
that's
the
what-
products.
that's what makes
that
humans-
We're here.
that's what
you're
makes-
eating everything else.
On-
You can't look at that as a negative.
It's not a negative,
when you
but here's
produce
the
a
thing.
value for other people
Here's
that
the
brings
thing.
happiness.
That is the defining factor between humans and every other animal. That creative aspect.
Exactly.
But but we've created civilization. We've created classism. We've created racism.
Well, I
we've
understand,
created
but I'm talking about you as the
ideology.
individual. What are you going to create tomorrow that's going to make your life better and bring happiness to the world?
but
You
see
got
that-
an idea within you.
but see,
Everybody does, is what my point is. And you got to find that desire you had as a kid when you were a child. What did you want to do when
But-
you grew up?
But see, here's the thing.
That's the point.
If we look at
You
it
can't
more,
ever get away from that.
if we look at it more from a nature's point of view, right? Why does a bird live? Why does an ant live? Just so that way, 1,000 years from now, there's a bird that looks like that. There's an ant that looks like that. They live to propagate the species and just to keep this whole thing
And
going.
that's where we got to
Yeah.
raise up from that natural thought process and become a spiritual type being, realizing you got in your brain the ability to make your life happy creating whatever it is you like to do. You don't have to sit around. So many people work their jobs their whole lives, and they hate their jobs, and they die in their jobs. But if you find in your job something you can like to advance yourself, to keep you in tune and excited about going to work, you're going to live a longer life. George Burns, I sat with him in his dressing room when he was 95 years old, and he was smoking a cigar and drinking a martini.
That's one
and
level.
He was
That's one
happy
level.
motherfucker.
But that's also like the dreamer aspect.
You
know
got to
what I mean?
have that.
Yes and no. Some people have
Where's
to
the
be.
no?
Because
There's
some
no
people
no
need to be
it.
worker bees. Because some people need to work
Well,
the
then that's their
drive-through.
choice.
Well, not
and they
everybody.
better be
But, yeah,
happy
but
at it,
here's the
because
thing,
if
though.
they ain't, they're
What,
gonna
what, he's,
stagnate
what,
and
what he's
die
saying
doing
that is
it.
like, you know, it's whatever you're happy. You know, I know a guy who was a machinist until he retired, but that's what he liked to do. He was a machinist and he did his thing.
God
and
bless him.
And he was going to give the business to his kids. He made about $300,000 a year,
Right.
you know, in doing his thing. They didn't want to do it, so the business just died. He sold it to somebody else. But here's the thing. Who the fuck wants to be a machinist? Somebody does. Like somebody
Right.
wants
Well,
to.
he was happy
someone
at
wants
that.
to be the guy.
Yeah, but you know what?
You're like,
Sometimes-
holy
And he
fuck.
was creating something with that machine.
But you know
Like, you
what?
really love being the taco dude.
But
You're
sometimes-
Taco Dave.
But,
You know what I mean?
but sometimes it's not about what you want to do. It's about what you need to do. And that's kind of lost sometimes. Everyone's got their head in the clouds and doesn't sometimes, bring themselves to reality. Like, look, I know you want to do this.
Then
but
you better make
need
the
be
steps to
doing
do
that.
it. You
know
better
what I
make
mean?
the step to do it then. Otherwise,
Well,
you're
that's
just
that,
a cog.
Well, that's another thing though. That's like self-inventory because we all do that some aspect of, you know what I mean? You want to do something, but you're really carved out to do something else. Like you got to
You know you're in the wrong spot, and there's something better for you.
You don't want to
Well,
compromise yourself.
you got to fight.
You should. You should
you
always
gotta,
be honest and loving.
You got to you got to stop fighting like your own vibration. You know what I mean? Like your head's over there, but what you're doing right here is where you'd really just probably rock it off to. You know, I get it because in my stand-up, like I bet you if I actually if I tried to nail down a tight 30-minute set where I just said the same fucking thing over and over again, I'd probably fucking crush it. But I can't do that.
I don't know, man.
And I don't do that.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
listen.
And it's worked. It served me well, but it hasn't put me where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
think,
But
I think all of that sounds great until someone says, well, what I want to be is a murderer, or I want to be a pedophile, or I want to be a rapist, or what makes me happy
that's
is
not loving,
crazy
and that's
shit.
not honest, and that's
No,
evil.
but some-
you got to
but
value
but those
in
people
your
exist.
brain.
Those
Well,
people
yeah, I mean,
exist.
those people are going to get put down, too.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a lot of people who have different ideology, right? So some people say I want to dress up and have a Klan rally. That makes me happy. And there's other people who push back against that. And why should they not be able to be happy? Like
If they're creating
Well,
value
it's-
for
it's-
other
it's-
people,
there-
unless
it-
you're a
it-
whore on the
it's always
street,
within
you know
the
what I
it's
mean?
always within the parameters, just like free speech. You're not out to try and incite violence, hurt somebody or get somebody hurt.
Right.
That kind of thing. I mean, there's always there's
long as you don't cross the
you gotta
line.
you gotta have that. It's kind of it's the Immanuel Kant thing, the dizziness of freedom.
gotta
But
go
that's,
moral
what,
compass.
but that's where I said sometimes it doesn't come to what you want to do, but what you need to do. So you might want to, go over here and throw a brick through this guy's window, but you need to just keep that belief system and not act on it. You see what I'm saying?
There
It
you
still
go.
comes down
Good
to
thoughts bring good things in life.
Right.
And that's why that book I gave
But
to you
what's
that
good?
talks about circumstances reveal the person in himself. If you wake up in shit, you must deserve it as an adult because you put yourself there. Pizza Dave put himself on the floor. When he died, I cleaned out of his mobile home 13 dead rats. And talk about cans of beer all over the place, old crap thrown in the corner. I mean, you live like that, you're going to get the result of what you get. So your mind's like a garden. If you're planting weeds, you're going to get bad results. If you're planting good thoughts, good things are going to happen. And such
For the
good
most
things will
part.
happen. If evil comes at you, you'll be able to stop them just because you're in control. You got to know that you're the leader, You're not the follower. You're the one that's designing everything you're doing from this point out. If I step on a plane tonight and it crashes, it's not the pilot's fault. It's really my fault because I stepped on that freaking plane.
No, closer.
Yeah.
No, he's
I'm
fine.
getting excited.
Like I was-
No, you're fine. You just need to
Just
talk
gotta
to the
be
mic.
in
Yeah.
there,
Oh.
yeah, stay in there.
I agree.
You're overshooting it.
I agree,
Oh.
but that comes back to, like I said, taking agency in yourself and just
Yeah, and find the thing you really want to do
there's-
that you desire.
well,
Maybe
there's a
it's
big-
growing pot on a pot farm. Maybe it's, you
Yeah,
know,
but that might
Well,
not
that's
be.
what I
but
was
see,
doing
but
till they
that's-
bust
being a
me.
campaign manager for
But-
somebody.
but
I
like
don't know.
But like I said, that's not always the right thing. You know, if you got 10 kids at the house, maybe it's not for you to go follow your dream. Maybe it's for you just
Well,
to get a job
at that point,
and just grind it out and
your
pay the
dream
bills.
is taking care
gotta
of
do
10
both.
kids because that's what you
That
created.
might not
I
be your
guess
dream.
The thought
Well,
process
then you're
there
really
is-
fucked up.
It still
And
might
you
not
need
be
to
your
sit down
dream.
with a shrink for
if
5
you
minutes.
going to work and paying the bills, you know, just as long as you, I guess the thought process is like, don't let go of your dream. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
no,
just
no.
keep it there, you know, and keep hacking away at it.
You
What if
gotta-
your dream
you-
is to do something in your 20s?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, there's.
Well,
you know,
then-
But
we
you
could-
can't
it's
let
a
that
wrap.
go. You can't
Well, I
let
mean, we
that
could
go.
what if it all day, but in reality, is,
Nah,
you know,
That's
it's,
also
it's,
not-
It's a healthy mental state to be chasing your dream and chipping away towards it. Whether you know,
No, I
a
agree
lot of
with that.
people, you know, I mean, you know what, 95% of the comedy world, probably more, you know, are working a job chasing that comedy dream because it's feast or famine. You know, you're either the top guy with the Netflix shows and the you know, and the top, you know, road gigs booked and on tour, or you're the guy that's doing 6 open mics a week and maybe featuring for, you know, $30-$40 at most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
I
there's
like-
really not
that's
a
why
lot
I
of
lucked out
Right.
with my gig, dude.
yeah,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so I mean that
But,
you know,
but let me
that's-
ask you a
that's
question.
Just the
But
comedy
let me ask you a
world.
question, right? Out of all of those comedians, right? How many of them, in your opinion, should just give up the ghost?
None of them.
No,
I
no.
mean, you know, some
Because-
of them are
because-
not funny. Some of them
because-
can't put it together.
No,
Because
but
reality
there's-
is
there's-
this,
there-
right?
there-
Reality
there's-
is there's only one top spot, right? So everybody wants to be the
No,
top
there's an
guy in
abundance
something.
for everybody.
No,
There's-
no, no,
I
There's
know.
only
I'm
one,
doing their
the
tax
best.
returns.
No, I
know
definitely
what
understand
happens.
that. No,
I don't
there's
see that in comedy because there's
room for
comedians.
everybody. Yeah, I
There's
feel that.
comedians
There's
that
enough
are
for
totally
everybody. You can never
successful, and I
limit
can't listen
yourself.
to 'em.
That's limiting yourself.
You know, yeah. There's for comedy. There's
Tomorrow
every
you might
comic
come up
has
with a
their
new
audience.
idea.
Hold on,
that
one at a time,
sells.
one at a time.
You know, but it's like in comedy, everybody has their audience. Your audience might be 5 people. It might be 50,000 people.
Right.
Well, and it's
You
not
know?
only that; it is your audience is your age. You know, like technically, it's funny how everybody thinks as a comedian you're supposed to be this young hip thing, dude. It's you get better with comedy as you get older, anyways,
Exactly.
because you have
More
more
experience.
wisdom. You have more.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's
Everything.
ridiculous that the people who are young that are good is they're kind of like ahead of their time.
Right.
But what I was getting at is you do your responsibility, you do your thing, you keep the dream alive, you chip away. Goes back to the garage, right? The dreams were made. Shit was happening in the garage. It's the extra hours that you do. Do you sit in front of the TV or do you learn Photoshop and you make bomb memes or what? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Thank you.
But the other thing is the other thing I was getting at is when it comes to keeping your dream alive or doing your thing is you that's what keeps you going, and the success is it might be I wanted to be this big star, but the success is I can go up on any stage
Right.
anytime, you know what I mean?
Well, it depends on everyone has their own definition of success, and as long as you can reach that, then you could be happy.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to when you're talking about politics and the government and everything like that. It goes back to how you said, where the individual does have control of their own life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And for
don't
as
let
much as
Facebook
the,
hold you
right,
back.
and for as much as the government might interfere on a certain level, you know what I mean? We still like them roads. We like the infrastructure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need that shit. I
Right.
like electricity.
Right.
I like water
Yeah.
coming to the house. You know what I
Right.
mean? Shit like that. So it's a give and a take. You know what I mean? They're there to do what they do, but ultimately, individually,
Well, those were all private companies that were taken over by the government, though. That was our water and our sewage and
Well,
our
the interstate
and,
system,
and
right.
that stuff like that. Yeah, the interstate system is a different deal, but it is private companies that get hired to build those roads. So it'd still be manageable without a big brother government or anything like that.
yes and no.
But the
Because
thing
there
is,
would be no
but
one required to
but,
do it.
But here's the thing: is what the government has grown into is the issue, because ultimately the government's role is to make sure we don't abuse ourselves.
Right,
They're supposed
kill
to be
ourselves.
they're supposed to be the referees,
Right.
the moderators. In all reality, the way it's set up and the way the structure is supposed to be, they're to protect us from us. But it was put, certain things were put into place.
I never looked at it like that. I always looked at it as they were to protect us from everyone else.
No, they're supposed to protect us.
see what
from
I'm
us.
saying?
We're
Well,
supposed
the
to protect
individual
us
rights.
from preying on one another and stuff like
See,
that.
I don't see that. I don't see them
I
doing
got
that.
two
Well,
examples.
that's the initial. That's the
I thought
intent.
it was.
That's the
I
role.
thought it was from other entities, other countries, other nations.
They
from
should
preying
protect
upon
our
us.
borders. Yes,
Right.
that's
Well,
what it's
there's that
supposed
too,
to
but
be.
That's the main
but
thing,
it's
right?
turned into
But
where
when we get
it's
into the
kinda
Bill
like
of Rights-
George Orwell. Here's the thing with understanding the tax laws. The government has changed the tax laws over the years to affect us. Now, here's the way.
Wait, can I?
Now, let me just say this. The Patel family
question. I
bought
got-
up all the motels across the
Which
United
one?
States. The
Who?
Patels. The Patel family out
Which
of India.
one?
Every,
That's what
every,
I'm saying.
every
Every
individual mom and pop
every customer
motel
service
across the
dude.
country, you walk in the door, it's owned by the Patels because they don't have to pay workmen's comp because
Well,
they
they are
hire
the
their
billions.
family.
They are the
First
billions.
example.
They're the-
Second
they're the
example
Indian
is Mikey's
Rockefellers.
uncle George had 16,000 employees at one time and 8 factories in this country, and the laws changed it to where they lost the businesses and they all went to China. So there's things afoot by tax laws
Of
that
course.
affected every one of us.
Of course.
Yep, and
And you
that's
gotta
and that's
remember
that's
that.
where you get these big businesses in like these tech. Oops, sorry if I got
Well,
you.
look at the-
like these tech giants, and then they squeeze out the
But-
other
but the thing is
businesses
like
and shit
this,
like
The
that.
state of Nevada is about to put 50 bail bonds companies out of business and take over the bail process, and the courts are going to run it. So, I mean, that's literally happening. Like,
Wow.
Well,
See,
there's
that's how
controversy.
screwed
You
up
know,
the
there's a lot of
government is
controversy
getting
about the
involved
bail
in our
bonds business.
lives.
you know,
in
in the state
And
of
it's been going
California,
on
it
for
goes into effect. So
generations.
it's going on. Like,
This
to
is-
see the factories closing, like
Thank
that's
you.
for me in the
Thank
you know in the bail bond industry because the bail bond
You gotta
industry
get
is
real
shrinking
vocal
by the
about
day.
that. That's
You know,
bullshit.
Right, but
and
as-
here's a business and the thing I put the
Right.
last 15 years of my
Right.
life into.
Right.
That's just going to be gone, and it's going to be
thank
useful.
you.
Which
They
is-
wanna
it's
come
such
get my
a-
land
well, you
like
know,
you
it's
were
such
saying
a-
before, 'cause they made it a park, and Harry Reid run a gold mine across the valley from me,
But-
taking gold bars
but
out
here's
of
the
there,
thing, as-
stashing them in
as-
northern Nevada.
As industries close,
You got to talk into the mic when you do that.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
as industries
At
close,
all.
new industries open. It's just the way of the world. You know what I mean? Like blacksmithing and shit like that had to
But
go
see,
away.
but
you know
you
what
say-
I mean? As
you
a
say
major
that.
No,
industry.
not when the
You see-
government does it. From
Well,
the
see-
free enterprise changes it, then that's one thing. But when Joe Blow, the ruling class bastard, says
Yeah, like-
we want to
Yeah,
put
the white-
Mikey
the-
Slyman's uncle out of business
Right,
and move
but
everything over to
these-
China because we
white
can get
shoe
it done
boys.
cheap by changing the laws.
Well, you know, the
Right,
difference
but that's
between
bullshit.
technology
But-
changing and blacksmithing going out.
Yeah,
and the
that's two
government,
different things.
And the government taking it over. If the government,
Right.
if the government stepped in and said, "You only the government can be blacksmiths,"
Blacksmiths,
that would
yeah.
be more accurate. But that's not the case.
That's not right.
You know, blacksmithing, just technology just evolved away from that.
Right.
You know, like Blockbuster.
We got a machine guy
Tower
that could do
Records.
the
You know what I mean?
machine.
Like, the technology changed and ended those. We're talking
That's
about
the
the
industry's
okay.
government
not dying.
stepping in
They're
and
just
saying,
taking it over.
Right.
We're,
I got
you
you.
got to do this
Right.
through us now. That's what's crazy.
To have ruling class politicians for years and years sitting in office pulling the strings.
Right, but these
bullshit.
are elected.
Well, you know, the
officials.
thing, well,
see-
there's our mistake then, isn't it? How
That's-
stupid us
that's my
sheeple
point.
are.
But not necessarily. Yet again.
What do you mean not
Well, no,
necessarily?
because here's the thing. Yet again, the people
See.
who voted these people
All
in,
the
right?
motels are owned by foreigners.
Well, hold on,
we're
hold on.
playing-
That's too loud now.
But we're playing the
Hey.
we're playing the guessing game. Yet again,
not a
we're-
guessing
No,
game.
Well,
we are because we're
I
going to
do
make
tax
decisions.
returns. I
No,
see
no.
the laws, how they
Right.
play them. 1 year it's one way, the next year it's
Obviously,
another year.
But I'm saying
another way.
hindsight being 2020. The thing is like this: when we elect people into office today, we're hoping they're going to make policies that are going to affect our children and our grandchildren. Like I said, we're going to be the Archie Bunkers of that generation. They're going to look back and go, "What the fuck
Or
were
we could
they
be the
thinking?"
Khmer Rouge.
Well, that's why
It's-
we
it's
need to
just-
get.
it's-
That's why
I
we
don't
need to
think-
get into blockchain voting, dude, and get rid of politicians.
yeah,
do I
the
keep?
thing-
Do
well,
I
we
keep
would
snagging
need
you?
politicians. No, that's
It's
okay.
just a thing about time. Like we're moving in the right direction. It's just going to take 1,000 years.
No. Businessmen got to be in charge starting
No,
tomorrow.
literally, it's going to take 1,000
No,
years.
not a
but
thousand
we're
years.
moving.
Not a
We'll
thousand
be blowing
years, but-
ourselves up.
Oh, pretty close. I'm telling you. Look, how
Pretty close. We can blow ourselves up right now today,
No,
this
no.
moment.
Look, like when the civil rights from the end of slavery to the civil rights movement to today was like 3 generations. It takes a long time to implement policy. It takes a long time for everyone to agree. You know what? You know what? This is crazy. We shouldn't be doing this. And then it takes 150 years to actually implement it halfway decently.
Well,
I
there's
don't
your
know. I
politicians
don't
for you.
know about that. I don't know
Well,
the
there's
way.
a lot of new stuff that's going on that's new to us, but I see like my kids who are like 11, 9, 7. Like this is the world they know.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
Correct.
this
Exactly.
like this toxic masculinity and all that bull. Like, that's the world they know.
No rotary phone.
You know.
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, you
Stuff
want to
like
know what's
that.
crazy about
But-
that is all my kids, all 3 of them. I have my son's gonna turn 9 this next weekend, and then I have a 6 and a 1-year-old. All of them, at one point, have walked up to the TV when they were a baby. They were under 2 years old, and tried to swipe the TV. Tried to swipe to change
That's
the
what I'm
channel.
saying. It's like every generation's informed
Crazy.
by different things,
That's
right?
insane.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I was
saying.
like, how come I don't have a TV you could swipe?
Yeah.
We
Do they
will.
have
Why am I
those
bro?
now?
No, but I'm like, why don't I?
Yeah.
We will. We will. 50 years, it'll be touchscreen.
No, it'll
for
be
sure.
closer because we have computers like desktop.
No, but I mean, but yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be everywhere. But I mean,
And we
But
got to
that's the
be in
thing-
control
but
of
that's
it
the
for the
thing.
individual,
But
not
that's
the
the thing.
government using it against us in mind control or taking away your
But-
bail
but
bond
this is
business
exactly-
or
this is
taking away my land or any other damn
but
thing.
this is exactly why I said maybe those people weren't crazy, because we're informed by the world that we lived in. So, all of our thoughts are, based on that. They came from a world that was slightly different, and so forth, right? So their thought processes are different because the world was different.
For sure.
But
that's
what's
what
the
I'm saying.
common
But
denominator? What's the
that's-
bottom line?
But that's what I'm saying. So, but the thing is like this: we're guessing. We're hoping the changes we make are going to be positive changes, and there's no way of telling except time. And it sucks because you have to go through a couple generations to be like, damn, that fucked up. Before you could course correct.
A lot of the stuff
There's
that
no other
they're-
way around it.
a
well,
lot
we
of
did
the,
that 200 years ago with the revolution.
a lot of
we've
the
been
stuff that
doing that
they're
since we crawled out
a
the
lot of the
cave.
a lot of the stuff that they're doing a lot of the stuff that they're doing in other governments and other things has like proven to be disastrous.
yeah,
has
fuck
failed,
the
right?
people up. $7
Okay.
gas.
But
France.
one of the things is the United States has been as it's been called the greatest experiment,
Exactly.
and one of the things is
because you're the
um,
most important. He's the most important. Everybody's
well,
the
in
most
theory.
important.
the thing is you have the rise of the largest and the strongest middle class in the history of the world, right? You have 50 states and pretty much individual liberties and freedoms and stuff like that. And the thing is what was the rise to that was a turbulent. Was a turbulent growth, right? There was a lot of discovery, a lot
Lot
of
of world
let me-
a lot of bad shit,
Let
right?
me ask you all a question. If you were born 500 years ago, do you think you would think the way you think now? Do you think you would
I
have
would
had
hope
the
you'd have a
environment?
moral compass and do the right thing.
Yet again,
The good
think
Samaritan on
that-
the side of the road.
I mean, there have been religions.
Not even
500 years, hold
religious,
up, but there's
just
been,
knowing right
there's
from
been
wrong.
morals for 500 years ago. Everyone had a
Do you
moral.
have empathy for other people?
Everyone had all those emotions and all those things 500 years ago.
Right. So hopefully you did the
Absolutely.
right thing.
Right, but the point is,
But back-
do you think politically the way you think would be? We're informed by different things. We came up in a
Yeah.
different time.
Definitely.
We think differently than the ones who came before us.
But then
don't
there
know
was
that
also
that's so.
there was also
No, it's a for sure.
there was
because-
also a lot of stuff that was put into place that was thought to last the test of time.
Yeah, Willie Lynch shit.
and that
Yeah,
that
you
was put out
can't
there.
rape, steal, lie, or
Well,
murder.
Right, and that's the thing. But
those four things:
but
the
those
Hindus, the Buddhists,
Okay,
the
and
Christians,
let- and-
the
and-
Muslims, they all say the same
and exactly
thing. You
my
don't do
point
that.
where I said it takes time, right? So those four edicts probably been around since the beginning of time, and it's taken all of this time.
6,000 years,
right,
anyways, with
to-
Abraham.
Right, at least 6,000 years, right? And we still don't got it all the way down. That's the point.
Because-
so ideologies come up that we know, like, oh, utopia would be great. Everyone can get along. That's not
Oh, you
not the
never
way
Can
it
be.
works.
By
Yeah, you're
you
never
thinking
gonna-
that it can't work that way
But
is
it-
stopping it from actually
but-
happening because
but
we
if
were
people-
raised to think that you find fame. So what does fame do? That makes you live forever. So what do people do to find fame? Some were warmongers. Some were terrible people, Al Capone, but he
Yeah.
found fame.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Infamy.
Now the change, yes. So now the thought process for us to enter the age of the Aquarius is to realize the individual is the most important, and the most important thing that's in you is a creative desire to create a value for other people that will bring happiness
that's
to the
great.
world.
That's
And
great,
if we raise our
but-
kids to think that way, they will be creators
how
of
about
values
this?
for society.
that will be
and
that-
then you'll
that
have
will
your
be that
utopia.
progression.
But
No,
how
it
about
is.
this? How about That's
I got that out and done.
How about that's the major problem? Everyone's focused on ego. It's all about
What's
you.
ego?
It's all about you. It's all about you.
No.
It's
You can create something. How's that ego? Ego wants you to find fame, so maybe you'll be infamous.
But what is your purpose to create? Is it for your personal pleasure,
No, I
or
made
is
a
it for
candy.
the benefit
I made
of
a candy
others?
that helps others because it's all natural. Now, if I tell you the ingredients, I'd be letting out my trade secret right at this point. But as soon as we got our packaging and I got everything sitting on a table, because I made them for Christmas in the past. Stephen Chu is with Shark Tank. I've researched this stuff. I got to sell some of this product, and when people eat it, it might be a cancer inhibitor. It will stop cancer because of the freshness and everything that's involved in it. And there's no sugar per se, the way manufactured processed foods will screw you up. Cooking food in a microwave
sounds like
oven is
snake
no
oil
good
to me,
for you.
bro.
It kills the food.
It sounds like snake oil to me.
No, that's easy to
Well,
say.
that's
but-
okay. Some snake oil will
I-
save your life if you were bit by a rattlesnake.
No, I feel you on that. But the thing is like this. Yet again, where's the research? And even
The
if
research
hold
has
up, hold
been
up.
for-
even
from-
if
by
you,
science.
even if you had it, yet again, until I see, bro, there's nothing that comes out unless there's 2 or 3 generations removed.
Have you ever heard of
that you
urine
can really tell
therapy?
me what it does.
No, have you ever
That's a
heard of
fact.
urine therapy? Let's really hit the
No,
bottom
no,
line
but
here.
I'm saying,
Have you ever
unless
heard of
something's
urine
been
therapy?
around for a couple of generations, how do you know how it really affects
Let me
the
talk
person?
about this.
Well,
Throughout, you know
Hold
what I
on.
mean?
This was going on while people were making pizzas.
Yeah.
This is what I would walk into at 2 o'clock.
pizza hour.
But I read 2 books because I thought I was dying
Only
at 56
2
years
ever?
old. No, I'm talking about urine therapy. Have you ever heard of urine therapy?
have.
I've
I
had
have.
Okay, all right.
urology.
I started
Is
it at 56 years old because I thought I was freaking dying. I had no
Okay.
insurance,
You're
I had
talking
no
about-
doctor, and I read 2 books. The Water of Life and Your Own Perfect Medicine. And by gulping about that much of my pee
Right.
every morning,
That's-
midstream right away, it cured things
Let me
within
explain something to
in
you.
my body.
Let me explain
internally.
something to you.
And
I can
in
tell you-
Proverbs, it
Shit.
says, drink
I can
from
tell
your
you
own cistern of
objectively.
life.
I can tell you objectively. Reading 2 books on any subject is not enough research.
Well, I'm just
for
telling you,
your
who
health.
writes
No,
about drinking your pee, for God's sake?
It doesn't matter,
There's
but
only
I can
2
tell you
books and a
objectively. I can
definitive
tell you
science behind
objectively,
it.
2
The
books
Water of
on any
Life-
subject
No,
is
I can
not
say-
the definitive
Yeah, you
amount
could
of
read-
information
and this-
What are
you
they-
could
to
read that,
make
we could call
to
you
make a
Pizza
decision.
Duce after knowing all
I'm being
that from that
honest.
piece of paper.
I would have seen proof.
What about? Wait, hold on.
Good
Hold
pie.
on.
Read that.
Hold
You're
on.
Pizza Duce.
Hold on.
2 books. They were paperbacks and they're only this thick.
I don't know if it's edibles or like really chomping at me like super hard right now.
Over 2 hours. How
But
long
are we?
Oh,
It was,
Hold on, wait a
it was a
minute.
pamphlet and
Hold
a
on.
paperback.
How many days in a row did you drink your own pee?
Since I was 56
And
years
still
old.
You still doing it today?
Yes.
Oh,
of
definitely.
course.
Oh,
Definitely.
wow, the
That's
first
your-
one of the
Hold
day.
on a
I'm
minute, wait a minute.
65 years
All
old.
right, now wait a minute.
It's-
No one's
Just
ever
some
made it.
basic, just some basic questions here. Do you just
Put it on topically. It takes skin-
hold on? Wait,
Stop.
stop.
You
Wait,
It is
pissed this?
sterile.
hold on, stop.
It is sterile.
I'm trying to
Your urine
grasp
is
all this.
sterile.
Dude, mine comes out dank as fuck.
So wait a
bro.
minute.
Well, then you might have an
Coffee like
internal
a-
Okay,
problem.
let's talk about harvesting the urine.
It should look like beer.
Uh,
Should look
well,
like
wait, hold
warm
on.
beer in
Let's
a
talk
glass.
about harvesting the urine.
Yeah, mine looks.
NyQuil tastes worse.
Wait
It looks
a
like
minute.
it looks like
Hold
mine
on.
looks like
I
an
know
amber
you're shocked
ale.
by this,
No,
but
I'm trying to get into the
you're
details.
shocked
Hold on,
by
because I
this.
gotta grasp this in a certain way. My brain's like, I gotta figure this
piss
out.
on it is not a bad thing.
Okay, so harvesting the urine that you're going to ingest.
Right,
Do you just wake up in the morning and pee in a glass
right,
and drink it?
right.
You don't store it.
No, that'd be nasty.
That's crossing the line.
I would be
Storing is crossing
because
the line.
it starts to ferment, just
3
like
second
sticking
rule.
water in a bowl.
Okay,
and
so
this
it's gotta be
stuff starts
fresh.
to turn
Bro,
black after
you've
a
heard
while.
of 3-second rule. 3-second rule.
Yeah, but
and,
I'm
that,
talking
and it's
about
the
three
midstream,
seconds.
Look,
not your
edible.
first,
Anything that
not
comes
your
out of your
end,
dick.
it's
Hold
the
on,
3
midstream.
seconds.
Wait, what was that?
Midstream, not the beginning, not the end.
So you pinch off.
I piss in a sink, buddy. I don't waste no water.
Wait a minute.
It's a
You
perfect
drink
meal
the-
bidet.
now
You can
you're-
wash your
now you're
hands and
letting
your
it go down.
Johnson at the same time.
So,
So you get
midstream.
midstream.
You have to drink the midstream.
right.
The
Just
okay.
a little bit, and then
So there's
Let a little
definitely going to be a splash in there.
Flabbergasted.
it
definitely
folds
right.
up like a frothy golden beer.
Like a
And then you drink it
NyQuil
warm.
tastes worse.
You drink it
frothy
warm.
ale.
Yeah,
And
right
you still
down.
do this every day.
Right.
You drink it
Right.
warm. How are you going to
Not
drink it
every
every
I don't know if
day?
you- I don't know if he's put
Mikey,
ice.
not
It comes
every
out at
day,
98.6
but most
degrees.
days. Most days, not every day.
I don't know if he's got a rock glass with an ice cube in it. He's pissing on ice. I don't know.
stir stick,
I don't
a
know
little
if the rim is
umbrella.
Line up
salted.
ice cube.
I got
like
a
he's in
little
the
umbrella.
closet.
Is, I
Fucking
guess salt in the rim or is there
Piss
enough-
colada
Pissing
over
in the
here
rain.
blends it up, dude.
Pissing
It's
So
like
you're
in the
just drinking. So
rain.
that's what I was trying to figure out. So you wake up in the morning.
Whipped cream.
But see, I'm glad I asked because we wouldn't have known about the midstream.
That's crazy.
That's important.
No, that's what
the-
you.
That's
the
what the
thing.
book
So
upset.
No,
so
yeah,
I followed the
that's-
book.
Because you gotta clean out the
Right.
No, well, that's
the
not,
shaft.
What it is, your body's making antibodies for anything that's wrong within you. My foot
Wrong.
was bit by a brown
Wrong.
recluse spider. Yes,
Wrong.
definitely.
That's
Read
called
the books.
waste.
No,
It's
waste is
called
out your
waste.
ass.
And
Out
so
your penis.
It's
out your
liquid
penis
waste.
is your
Stop
fountain of
it.
youth.
Stop
Hey,
it.
No, you can
here's
tell me
something.
to
This
stop
is,
it, but you're full of shit.
Hey, no, but
I
no,
gotta
but
call
hey,
it
this
the
is
way it is.
hey,
I'm
here's
alive,
something.
dude. I was dying at 56.
Damn it! Shut up. Let me fucking talk.
All right,
real quick.
Anecdotal.
I got to
I
stop
will
his
say
no
this.
on this.
I will say this. Okay, in history though, they have urology. This is actually very old. This is a very old thing. The shaman back in the day, they would actually encourage people when they do like ayahuasca treatments or they do mushrooms and stuff. They would drink their urine. They'd have people drink their urine when they would trip because it would actually.
R.
you know,
Kelly, bro.
You're
No,
putting the stuff back in your body. If you get
No,
bit by a
because-
rattlesnake, the first thing you better do is drink
what
your
what
pee.
ends up happening
The
is
antibodies are in your bloodstream.
what
You're
ends up
already
happening.
fighting. You get
Dude,
bit by
it
a rabid
intensifies
dog,
it. It actually
it
what
puts it back in you.
what gets you high comes out.
Hold up.
It intensifies it.
Disclaimer.
So
This is not any real medical advice. Please,
Yes, it
no
is.
one.
It's the water of
You're-
life
hey,
and your
you're
own
all-
perfect medicine
It's
by Martha
absolute-
Christie.
Okay, so here's another
1994
question.
hey, well, you know
published.
who else? You know who
Let me-
else
let me
used to
say-
do
let
it?
me-
You know
hold
who
up.
else did this? And actually, he swore by it. He doesn't do it now. At least he stopped because he did it for his
What's that?
training.
Pacquiao?
Juan Manuel Marquez.
Was that the one
He-
that Floyd wouldn't fight?
No,
Floyd backed
no.
out of a fight because of someone drinking pee.
No. He drank his own pee. But dude,
Everyone is
when
so
Floyd
out of
showed his
touch.
piss, dude,
No,
that
you're out
shit
of
looked like
touch.
a
You don't
fucking
understand the
coffee,
science
dude.
behind it.
Floyd
You don't
drank-
even
wait a
know
minute.
steroids.
Floyd was
You're out
drinking
of
his own
touch
pee?
with
No,
nature.
no.
Oh.
Floyd actually
Unless your
pissed in
kidneys
a
are
cup and
fucked
he
up.
goes, "Drink this
Drink your
gorilla
urine.
piss,"
Yes,
and it was
you
like
should.
all
Any
blood.
more often?
Yep, the
Yeah.
devil wants
Hold
you
up.
dead, so don't
No,
drink
stop
your
it.
urine.
Peep this.
Oh yeah, we
All right.
guys. I was gonna say
Stop
we can
that.
only have one
No,
one
go
talking
read
at a
about
time.
it. You got to educate yourself.
This
to
is
it.
what I think.
You're in total ignorance.
Okay.
Sorry, but I
possibly,
got to call it the way it
possibly.
is.
But I would say this, right? I don't think a human being should probably drink their urine in any more frequency than you see in the animal kingdom. I think probably naturally, if we were designed to do that, we would do that more often.
Monkeys drink it all the
You know
time.
what I'm saying? I think your penis would be on your face, so would your vagina,
Like you were
because
just having
if
urine
that
gland
was
in your stomach.
yeah, I mean, we would have evolved to be able to drink our own urine if
I
that
got-
was
Well,
the thing.
when
Well,
you're in a
it's
when you're in your mother's belly, you're surrounded by water, which is
It's-
the
it's
urine, and it
amniotic
makes your
fluid.
lung sacs.
It's
The
ambion-
urea
it's
creates your lung
amniotic
sacs.
fluid. That's something totally different.
No, that's
Is
no, it's
ambionic
no
fluid?
water.
Is that
It's
The mother's
amniotic-
water
it's
broke.
amniotic fluid, number one.
Well, hold on
number
a
two,
minute.
a baby doesn't go to the
It creates
bathroom
your
until
lung
they're
sacs,
born.
your
and that's
urea
called meconium.
from breathing
Stop
the
it,
water
bro.
in and out as a
Stop
baby.
it.
You
They're
can't
not-
just
they're
pass
not
off
telling
urine
you.
like it's water. Though.
It's not.
You can't just be like, it's water.
It's not.
But no,
You will
it's
die if
I'm
you drank strictly urine.
well, you're not supposed to drink strictly urine. I guess it's a procedure. I guess it's practiced widely.
I mean, it's in Proverbs. Drink from your own
Midstream
cistern of
urine.
life. Buddha said to do it, and Jesus lasted 40 days in the
They were
desert.
not
I'm guaranteeing you, he
doctors,
drank
bro.
his
They were
urine.
not
So
doctors.
you do this only in the morning.
They teach SEALs. They
Bro,
teach
but
the
you're
guys
not-
in
you're
the
not-
they teach
you're
teach
not in-
soldiers to be able
You're
to drink
not
their
in
urine.
a survivalist situation.
I'm getting a martini
bro.
cup
No,
to
you
drink
don't
my piss.
understand it. You
dog.
got to read the book. Get
Listen,
the Water of
martini
Life
glass.
I
by
understand.
John Armstrong,
Listen,
1944. That was
survivalist-
published. They
There's
found
a-
50
there's a-
good things in your urine that you re-ingest, and also with Martha Christie's book in '94, 150 things in your urine. And I'll tell you what,
150 I got 152.
I soaked my foot when I got bit by a brown recluse spider,
That-
and it on a Monday, on
You
a
soaked your foot?
Wednesday, and a Friday for 20 minutes in my urine.
That's actually
and
been
that
proven to
Saturday,
not
the
work.
spot came off of my toe, and I didn't lose my toe.
Same thing with like the
People
jellyfish
die
thing.
from getting bit by them frickin' spiders.
That's been proven to be
Didn't
Yeah,
an
no,
kill
that's
my
true.
dumbass, and I
That's
didn't lose
been
my
proven
toe.
to be an urban myth.
Whatever,
shouldn't do
whatever
that.
you
Same
want
thing
to
with the
say is
jellyfish,
fine.
bro.
I don't care.
I
Because I'm
was-
65 years old.
I
It
believe-
saved my life, and I'm telling
did
you,
not-
I
listen-
made up
All right,
my will.
I think
was
we should
dying,
move
and
on
just
from
read the
here
book.
because we're going in circles.
Yeah,
I know.
dude.
I got freaked out.
But if you're interested, I would say that look into it.
Research it, because other people are doing it. And if you knew who all my friends that
read
were
the
doing
pros
it,
and
you'd be
cons.
shocked.
I wouldn't say that you're wrong. I would just say that your proof is anecdotal.
Well, I'm just
Hey,
saying, read the book.
wait, real quick.
And
How
if you're faced with death, then you
John.
might do it.
John, how fast am I going to see results?
Instantaneous.
3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
3 days.
It
It
took
just
me 3
one
days,
a, one a
'cause I'll be
day.
totally honest with you. You want to know what my internal problem was? I'll be totally honest with you. I'll tell you what my internal problem was. Every time I had an orgasm, my right nut had pain.
That's because you're 65.
No, I was 56. Pay
See,
attention,
just as
please.
bad, bro.
Talking
That's
9
why.
years ago. How many times? Quit passing that.
That's
to me.
why.
You had to
All right,
clean the
overtalk.
pipes,
He
John. You
overtalk.
had to clean the
He
pipes. See,
saying?
this had a
Come
build
on.
up.
Come
How
on
often
now.
were these orgasms?
Jesus,
What's
ask my
every-
old lady. I hit it every day.
Okay.
She lets
So I'm saying it wasn't like a build up. It wasn't like a couple
No,
two
at
times a year
56
release.
years old, I was pushing to get out of the car. I couldn't move around. I was like an old man. And I was on Last Comic Standing. And Dickie Peterson, who was Doug Stanhope's opening act for a year, they traveled together, gave me those 2 books because Dickie was growing wheatgrass on his porch, making $100,000 a year. Now listen to me. He was growing wheatgrass on
Pizza
his porch,
Dickie.
making $100,000 a freaking year to the Juice
The
stores here in
urologist.
town. No, I'm telling you the truth. He gave me the books. I read the books because I said, Dickie, man, every time I have an orgasm, my right nut goes into pain. So the first thing I did was I put urine on my face. It took a blemish away right away. So then when I did, I said, well, I got no insurance. I'm in pain every time I have a nut. I'm going to try it after reading the books. I drank it down for 3 days in the morning. The third day, I'm sitting by the computer. All of a sudden, my right nut went into serious pain for about, and I wasn't jacking
Can I ask you
off
a
either
question,
in
though?
front of the freaking thing.
ask you a
Now, just let me finish the story, please. I'll tell you what a crow. So then all of a sudden, I'm sitting at the computer. My right nut started hurting. Oh my God! It must have gone up for about 20 seconds.
You had
and
a
it
release.
stopped, and it never happened again. I've never had the pain again.
Did you like nut?
Thank you, Jesus.
Did you nut tapioca after that? Was this the clog?
Yeah,
You-
yeah.
you
I mean,
released
that was,
it?
I mean, it was weird. I mean, every time you want to have sex, you have pain. I mean, that's,
Well, yeah,
that's a
that
horrible
kills it.
thing to
Yeah.
experience.
Oh,
You
man.
know, I made up my will. I told
Make you
my
suicidal.
one daughter that's kind of not so emotional. Here's my will, and here's my stuff, you know, and this is what you got to deal with.
not-
I'm not going to
because
see
you-
next Christmas.
Do not go
at
into my
57.
laptop.
You know?
'Cause
No,
you
really.
could-
I was
'cause you couldn't
friggin-
nut?
I was dying.
Because you couldn't nut? You're like, I'm dying.
Well, I mean,
I
it's-
can't-
I don't think
That's
You
the
drink
testicular
your
pain.
fucking pee too if you couldn't nut.
There's lots of reasons you want to have testicular pain. I don't think it's terminal across the board.
That's
Hey,
a
I don't
death
know. You go to a
sentence, bro.
doctor, you cut your fucking right nut off for all I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
supposed to
come
be the
on.
left.
Think about it. When you're up against the wall, you know what I mean? If you're thinking about you're freaking dying.
Did you do any research like? To
Yeah, I
the
read 2
contrary?
books.
But I'm
Dickie
saying
gave
to
it
the,
to me.
To the contrary. Did you do
Were
any
the two
I
research?
didn't find
Well,
anything
That's what I'm
contrary on
saying.
it.
Did you look? That's
Why would I look for something negative when I got something positive? Maybe it's a bunch of bullshit because
Well,
in my
did you
mind
read
I
the-
created that
Well,
it could happen,
well, not-
so it happened.
yeah,
How
placebo
about that?
effect. No, for
How about
sure.
that, though?
For
you think
sure.
your mind can control what's happening or not?
yeah, definitely.
All right,
but
then
then,
create
but then,
that
but then
life you want
let's
for
establish
yourself.
a
Placebo.
Because I
Hold
create
on.
mine.
But then
Hold
I
on.
wouldn't contribute it to the
Wait, let
urine.
me
I
help
would
your
contribute it to my
argument.
mind.
Well,
let me,
then
let me,
maybe
let me
you
help
would.
your argument because
Yeah,
you're
that
saying
was the case.
You can't
I kind
argue
of
with
figured
what
it out.
works.
I
How do
found-
you know
okay,
that- how do
there's
you
a
know you're
hack
healthy?
here. So
That's an
you're
awfully-
wanting to know if you read anything, the pros and the cons.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
you're saying
And
you
then
didn't
made a
have to.
decision.
So did you do did you start and then have results and then read the books?
I read the books
Before you
'cause
started.
Dickie told me because I said, Dickie, I'm having a serious problem. I known this guy. He's on. Go to Oscar and Bernie YouTube.
Pizza
Pull up Dickie. Dick Talks. TOXX. His real name is Dickie Peterson.
Dickie
Pull it.
Peters.
You know what? His father-in-law was Paulie Bella. Paulie Bella was known as the Fixer. He came out of Cuba. He had 10% of the Capri Casino.
So this gives him
No,
medical
I mean, I could say
expertise.
so much stuff that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm just saying.
So
if
you're
go to
saying you
Caesars,
had
he rolled
positive
a
results, so
craps
you
out on
didn't
the
need
table
to.
and roll out fake
You didn't
dice.
need to bother worrying about researching the cons.
Paul
'cause
and
the-
Al
the
Bell out
up
of
was-
Steubenville.
The up was good enough.
Dickie gave me the books. I read the books, and the third day, the pain went away.
Bro, I mean,
So
if
I
it
did what
don't
the
fit,
book said.
You must have quit.
You know,
right. But there's,
What
you
can
know,
I
Well,
tell
what
you?
did the book say?
it says that
sounds
your
pretty
urine is
basic.
sterile. In 1944, John Armstrong said if Hitler would have drank his pee, he wouldn't have been a nut. He wouldn't have been crazy. It would have cured the syphilis.
see, come
it
on,
cures,
bro.
it
See,
cures
you
all
go so
disease.
far with
it
this,
cures,
bro. Like,
it
you
cures
know what I'm
cancer. It cures freaking everything. And go back to World War
cures
II.
Hitler,
French
bro.
used to
It would
come
cure
in.
Hitler, though. This is what he
It would have
said.
cured
It
Hitler.
cures
Read the
everything.
book.
wouldn't have
It's
been
in
a
the
nut,
book.
dude. All he had
the
to
guy's
do,
bombs
drink
dropping
piss.
around him, and he's writing his fucking book in London
I'm
in
not-
1944.
Listen, I'm not saying that none of these things might be correct or not, right? I'm just saying the way you phrase it, you must understand this is very anecdotal. There's no particular experiment. You don't know if 3
That's
days.
what you think.
No, I'm telling you, you don't know if 3 days later
No, I don't
that pain
know.
would have went away
Whatever.
anyway.
Whatever.
There's no control.
I can move a lot quicker than I could then. I can drop on the floor and pop at least 25 push-ups.
whoa.
No, I'm just saying.
Like
I'm
twerk?
strong today. I wasn't strong then. I was feeling like an old guy. 56 years old. Like, I'm about to check out.
But how were you living? Like, what were you drinking? What were you eating?
You are
How
pretty
active were
No,
you?
it was nothing.
energetic, dude.
I've been partying my whole damn life since
And
I moved out here when I was 19.
And you don't think that may have
His-
had
I was
something to
getting
do with
on
it?
Well, whatever it was, I know what the cure was. I tried it and it worked. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here today.
So are you like drinking like high vitamins? Or you try to avoid like high fructose corn syrup? You know, like what do you like?
We
you know
eat
what
good.
I mean? Like,
My wife cooks good. I get up in the morning, I drink a glass of iced tea that's got this greens mixed in
That's
it.
after the
After the urine. And then after I drink that, then I have a V8 juice. Well, it's not V8, vegetable juice, by the
Yeah.
generic
Bloody Mary.
shit, from Walmart. And I drink that. And then at lunchtime, I'll shoot home. I have some Triscuits with maybe like some cream cheese and chives or whatever the hell they sell, something like that, with a couple slices of salami, and then dinner. And the wife always cooks a good dinner, nothing microwaved. Got to have a toaster oven, not a microwave. Microwave kills the living enzymes.
get
in
an
your
air
food.
fryer oven, dude.
That if you got a nice convection oven in your house, yeah, for sure.
Best fucking invention ever.
Fire.
Right. And that too. That definitely. Yeah. The grill for sure.
Oh yeah, I like that stove at the cabin.
Yeah,
That was
we do our
nice.
thing. And then that's the other thing. When I was 30 years old, I built a cabin on 20 acres of land, 80 miles from here, and it was off from my carpenter buddies and people that I've known here in town. I had older guys telling me to buy land when I was young, so I bought land, $50 a month for 10 years, $50 a month, and then about 8 years into it, we paid off the last 2 years and built a cabin back in '84. So, like, Trez has been up there. We got a big party coming up June 7th. Invite everybody to come up,
My birthday weekend.
Well,
Oh,
come
dude.
on up. You got to get up there like in a
buffers.
truck or a van, though, because we got 20 miles of dirt road one way. And we got 4 mobile homes sitting
Yeah.
on a property. My buds built a bar in one, getting
Nice.
everything done and set up for the party that we're going to throw. Jaybird.
Yeah, I told the
he
missus
gets
we got to go out.
people up, man. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we sit there, and if you want to, shoot up to the mountains. Only 5-6 miles up the road, and you're hiking up into big trees and stuff.
Beautiful.
And where we're at, we're in a Joshua Tree Forest, and life is really good. I mean, if there's people out there listening to this, and if they're facing a terminal disease, I'm telling you, get the book, Your Own Perfect Medicine, and The Water of Life by John Armstrong, and Your Own Perfect Medicine by Martha Christie, because it's life-changing. It really is, and there is science behind it. And what they do to make heart medicines, these porta potty companies, they collect that urine, and they render that stuff. No, my buddy used to pick
That's
up
all
all the
that
used cooking
shit.
grease here in town.
And what, for
Are
compost?
you
they
talking
render the
about
stuff.
an international urine collecting scheme by the
There's
porta potty
there's
companies?
the Illuminati
there.
collecting urine and making heart medicine pills as
the
we
dark
speak.
cabal
I don't know. Yes,
of
yes.
urine collectors.
But I did meet guys from Vietnam known as the Black Lions.
All
And
the-
they were brothers, and I was at a meeting after James Parker wrote this book called Vietnam, Its Own Self. He invited me to hang out with these retired CIA guys at the top of Arizona Charlie's. They had a meeting, and he presented his presentation on how he wrote his book. And at the end of this hour-and-a-half meeting, a guy gets up in the back of the room and says, the problem we have in the world today is there's too many mouths to feed. There's 7 billion people on the face of the earth, and 100 years ago there was only 1 billion. And then the door opened up and we left. And that statement was so crazy to me. You think urine therapy is crazy. My thought was, you're not coming from a position of abundance.
Yeah,
7
but
billion
truth- but
people.
truth-
We can handle 14 billion people if
Exactly.
we're doing it right.
I mean, exactly, because truth be told,
Yeah.
there's a lot of food waste if it was distributed correctly.
Well, even the
100%,
seeds.
dude.
What can we create out of the seeds? Who's going to come up with the next idea of doing something? Aquaponic farming, or an individual's houses
mean-
have
Yeah.
their own gardens growing and stuff. You know, what I mean?
Neighborhood
There's a
gardens
lot.
again, dude.
Yeah,
Bring
but
that back.
Mine's a beautiful thing. Are we going to blow ourselves up? Because the Bible says Iran, it says Persia is going to attack Israel, the fig tree, when it sprouts its leaves the second time. So is there been people that have been in the past and been in the forward? Einstein says if you can travel the speed of light, time stands still. You could go back in time, you go forward in time. And he says, what, he looks like a star coming here? So if there's craft moving that fast in the cosmos, there's conscious beings that have, a concern for our dumbasses.
Not necessarily. See,
You always keep going back to the negative. Why do you
No,
play the devil's advocate?
because
Accept the thought
Because
for
here's
once.
the thing. Because
Go with the flow.
Let me tell you why.
All
Because
right.
the truth can
Yes.
stand up to any kind of scrutiny. And
Thank
that's
you.
why.
Yes.
And here's the thing.
We can't go to speed of light and go faster and travel
Well,
the cosmos?
Here's the thing. People like to take one thing and then jump and conflate a whole nother thing right to
What
it.
other thing is that?
Well, you said if there's people out there that they're worried about us. If
Maybe
there's
they would be. Wouldn't we be worried
maybe,
about that?
That's why I said not necessarily. That's just a big
the
leap.
operative word.
Everything's a big leap.
But if we're
If
about to
there's
blow
a
ourselves
God-
up, wouldn't you warn us ahead of time? We're going to kill everybody on the face of the earth.
yet-
We're going to
yet-
look like Mars. Now they're saying Mars might have a civilization that blew themselves up.
Yet again,
there.
that's
You ever seen
Yeah,
that shit?
the ancient Incas said that's where the white man comes from.
Yet again, that's our own curiosity to ask why. We
Well,
want
that's a good
reasons
thing,
behind
isn't
things,
it?
But there's not always a why. Maybe I could explain to you the how. That doesn't mean there's.
What do you mean? Why? Why
A
not?
conscious
Why not?
meaning or direction that someone's pushing it in for a why.
You know brainwaves can go through lead?
So
Well, maybe brainwaves are going up to the atmosphere and someone's up
And?
there recording us. They
And?
found a satellite flying around
Okay.
the earth. They don't even know what the hell it is.
And?
Have you seen that?
The
No.
Black Knight.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Black Knight.
yeah.
Thank you.
What?
Yeah, it's been there for
Yeah.
a couple, like 1,000 years or
Yeah.
something.
At least they don't know.
They don't know
Could
what
have
it
been there
is. I think they
20,000
said.
years.
I think Tesla
Who
was the
knows
first
what it
person
is?
to talk
Yeah, but
about
the
it.
point is-
Dark
Nibiru?
Knight or Black Knight.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Is it Planet
But it-
X?
But the
No,
thing
it's-
is,
No, no,
it's
no.
like-
It's a
dude, it's-
satellite
it's
that actually
literally-
floating
it's
around our
something-
freaking atmosphere.
Yeah.
out
There's
there.
actually newer articles about it that said it could actually be inside our atmosphere because they just said our atmosphere actually expanded out further than they thought. Did you see those articles anyway?
well,
So now they're saying that this could actually be within our atmosphere, but it's out there. I mean, no one's
Come
ever
up to
said
my
it wasn't
cabin, you'll
there.
see
No,
stuff
it-
flying around. Now, I don't
Yeah.
know Area
No, is this-
51 or
but-
what, but we've
but
seen
the-
a lot of
but-
weird
but
stuff
yet-
up
yet
there.
Is this
again-
spherical Earth or flat Earth we're talking, dude?
but,
Well,
It's around.
Don't go there,
We're
bro.
around. Round and round. It's
But
just
see,
like
the thing
this.
is like this. A lot of those things,
Yeah,
yet
it's a
again,
disc, baby.
approaching it from a scientific point of view. Yes, you might see something, right? But to jump to the conclusion of, well, this
Why
is
not?
definitively what it is
You got
and
a
why
brain.
it
You
is.
can jump to conclusions all the time.
Well, yeah, but then you should
You
go.
can visualize what could
No,
be.
obviously, and that's how you form a theory, and that gives you a direction to go in to find proof to either back it up or disprove it. But you don't just make the theory and then say that's the truth. You can use your imagination to say, well, it could be this, it could be that. Great, that gives you the direction to go in to see if it is. But until you have empirical
Scientific.
proof,
Yes, I know.
you-
You go to that scientific
know.
thing, and I'm a poet. I'm not that
And then-
scientist.
yeah. But the thing is, like
And
I
the-
said, the truth,
a dreamer.
the truth will always come back as the truth. It will stand up to scrutiny. No one should ever be scared of the truth. It's objective. That's the point. When you find an objective truth, it's objective. It's not about what I think, what you think, my belief system, your belief system. It is what it is because that's the truth.
Oh shit! Here we
Oh,
go.
nice. Here we go.
This is radio,
Time,
bro.
just in time, like,
Ah, yeah. This is here we go. Get a picture.
This is talk radio.
This is
avian proctologist here.
this is radio, bro.
You don't need the visual. I love it though.
dude. Get a
How the
picture,
hell you
Mikey.
doing? I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm sold. I'm happy to be anywhere. Don't look behind the curtains. You'll see this goofball's lips moving. This Oscar. I could be working with Big Bird, Barney, but I'm stuck with this son of a bitch. There's no way to talk about me. Hey, I could be working with Terry Fader or Jeff Dunham, but I'm stuck over here with this goofball. Somebody call PETA. Save my ass. No, Duce, you're right. You are a scientist, and I agree with you.
The bird.
Look into my eyes.
Oscar.
Look deeply into my eyes.
Can I
'Cause
talk
Duce,
to the bird?
You're talking to a freaking
Dude.
puppet.
This is what I was getting at because I originally said we wanted to book the bird first and then have John on,
Right.
just to kind of like get this because we wanted to get the bird side of the story, the
Yeah.
bird's eye view, if you will, you know what I mean, of what's actually going on over there in the John world. So now that the bird is here, can the bird speak freely?
I'm happy to say I went out on a limb. Oscar's only my branch manager. He sucks. Mean people suck. Nice people swallow.
Are you drinking
Who's the
your
nice
own
motherfucker
urine
here
bird?
today?
Is the bird drinking its own P2?
No, I don't do that. I'm smoking a blunt. My name is Bernie because I'm ready to burn one.
You gotta
And
get
Triumph, you son of a bitch, where are you? You ball-breathed bastard. I'll fix your ass. You stole my act of my cigar. You saw me on the Gong Show in 1989. 5 years later, you come up with Triumph.
Got a lot,
because
got a
you're
lot of anger
just because
built up
that's
in
right.
there, Bird.
He's juiced in.
Didn't
you know,
that dude have
that's Smeagol.
real ball cancer in real life?
Abe
Who?
Vigoda.
He had
was his
testicular
uncle.
cancer.
Who did?
It's
Robert
all
Schimmel.
juice.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's one ball shy. ain't
That's
he?
what I'm saying.
He should have drank his pee, that stupid
That's
son
what
of
I'm
a bitch.
saying, he
See how everything comes back the way it is.
Exactly.
The Amazing Jonathan, I think he's drinking his pee too, because I told him that's the way to go.
I'm gonna look into
That would be
There you
fucking
go.
awesome. That'd be proof
Thank you.
positive. If he's
Proof
drinking
positive.
his piss,
Pee and
because he
win.
was
I'm
almost
telling you,
out.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I called
He
this
was
old
almost
lady. I
done,
told her,
dude.
You better
Like,
drink his
what do
pee.
you mean? What's up with
They
him?
told me I was an idiot.
Well, he's like been performing, or he's supposed to be doing some performing, or just
Thank you.
hasn't died yet.
Was
He's
he
like
sick?
very, very
The
sick.
Amazing Jonathan?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. It was.
Yeah, and guess what? You didn't
I love
know,
that
too.
guy. He was one of my
I
favorites.
contacted
you know?
his dumbass, and this old lady got mad at me for telling him to drink his pee. So if he's drinking his pee, they can.
She's like,
they
he's got
can piss on
enough
it, well,
problems.
Oh my goodness.
He's got enough problems. Doesn't he drink his own pee?
Yeah, well, there's a Yankee over there.
Jerry came by my house. Mike, you're gonna film?
Oh, you want me to? Hold on.
All right. Here's what happened here. Let me tell the story. I was on TV with George Carlin in 1980.
Lightweight
And
flex?
Because of that, yeah, segue. And then from doing that show with Carlin, Drew Carey was sleeping on Paul Brown's couch. So he comes over to my house. I show him all my Cleveland memorabilia and a picture of my dad. And I say, Drew was a skinny kid with long blonde hair and wire rim glasses. I go, Drew, there's the greatest comic I ever saw. Scorpio Marine. Put a dozen of them guys together, we would have won the war in a couple of weeks. Next thing I know, Drew starts laughing. I see the wheels moving behind his eyes. He does the Tonight Show. He looks just like my dad. I am Drew Carey's Forrest Gump. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
There you go.
Go to Oscar and Bernie YouTube. Thanks for the opportunity of being here. I don't know how much longer we're going, but I got things to do. I gotta
Yeah,
get,
no worries,
I got to
dude.
boogie and get our
Alright.
stuff together.
You
I
gotta fly?
We just got.
Jake Birds
just
got
got big
time to
rigged.
fly.
I know.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
totally
dude.
just got big.
Yeah, I
rigged.
gotta-
Lightweight flex
I won't
us.
even make Home Depot. They're already closed.
John's the
I'm
only
sorry,
dude that
dude.
ever brought a closing act to a podcast.
Yeah,
Dude had a legit closer.
How do you segue that?
Like boom, mic
How
drop.
long
I'm
are
out.
you guys going to be here?
Exactly.
yeah. No, we
Going on
can
3
wrap it up.
hours.
Until the drugs wear off.
I like that. That's good.
Let's say it's 2 hours and 15 recording. So yeah, we
Wow.
can,
We can wrap it up.
Good one.
All right, well, it was fun, man. I
It
mean,
was.
it's family being with you, Mikey. And
Yeah.
Trez is like family. He's been up to the cabin.
Yeah,
And
it's
Duce
good
is
time.
Nuke family,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
He's my devil's advocate.
Yeah.
He makes me think. He's got a scientific mind, the way
Yeah. It's good
That's
chopping
good.
it up with you, bro. You know what I mean?
Hold you to it.
All right.
Yeah. So you got the YouTube channel. Anywhere else you want to plug or anything
just
else?
OscarandBernie.com, and things are happening.
Right on. Good
You
stuff.
know.
And Duce, anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I guess the YouTube channel, FKG Radio.
KG Radio.
FKG Radio.
FKG.
Stands
I'll
for-
subscribe. Please subscribe back.
All right.
FKG. Because we got to have 1,000 subscribers to get paid for our content.
Yeah, you
I don't have
that
1,000 yet.
or like 40,000 hours viewed.
Wow.
So you could just
Holy
grind
cow.
it out with a couple of videos if you get the viewership up.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. No, FKG Video.
Radio.
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 FKG Radio.
Yep.
YouTube.
Right
That's
on.
about it.
There it
You know.
is.
Boom, bam.
Same old with me. Easy bail bonds. Just look for me.
Right out, right out, right out.
Yeah,
Wolfpack
ThinkStopper
coming
and
at ya.
Trez Mala. And if anybody out there want to get rid of your cable TV, hit me up. I'll get you dialed in with a Netmaster.
Nice.
Just do it for the pay-per-views. Never pay for pay-per-view ever again. Other than that, peace.
Hey, hold up real quick. 3 top things, right? People get for free.
What's that?
Love.
Or the 3 most stolen things: cable,
Yeah.
big lighters, and Black Freedom. All right,
Nice.
guys.
Bam.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Peace out, everybody.